Hello, today we're meeting children's entertainer who is specializing in clowning and face painting. Marcela is also an author, speaker, instructor, and the producer of FABAIC, the Face and Body Art International Convention. Hello, Marcela.
Hi.
It's really nice to see you here today. And can you tell a little bit about yourself? Where are you coming from? Where did you grow up?
Okay, well, I was born in Colombia, South America. I came to the United States when I was 14 years old, and I have lived in the United States ever since. Like I said, I'm a children entertainer. I started clowning when I was in my 20s. And then I discovered face painting one time when I went to Canada, and people were face painting and nobody was doing it here. And I always liked to paint and draw, so I became a full-time entertainer doing face painting, magic shows, balloon sculptures, and just loving the kids. That's what my life is. My daughter just asked me yesterday, she says, "Mom, when are you going to retire?" And I said, "From what? I've never had to work a day in my life. Every time I go out, there's a party going on."
Yes.
That's what that. Mhm.
And where do you live now?
I live in Hollywood, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
This is between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. I live about a half a mile from the beach, and it's a really pretty place. And my house is very big, so that your people know. The front of my house is a vacation rental, and it's really pretty because I love to decorate and make things for the house. But I don't advertise it like on Airbnb or any of those places. It's just for family and friends and word of mouth. So if anybody ever comes to Florida, let me know because you can rent it from me for a lot less than you will pay in Airbnb or anywhere else because I just like to have friends over.
Lovely, lovely. So, do you live there on your own or with the family?
I live by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I do have my one of my daughters live not too far away, and then the other one lives about 10 hours away. And I have three grandchildren and one
Oh, lovely.
great grandchild.
Oh,
And
lovely.
then my sisters, we all work together all our lives. Heather, of course, is my niece. She started working with me when she was a teenager, and then she took over city farm in the business. And her mother is kind of the one that runs the important part, the money part of the business. And then my other sister, we have an agency that books performers, so she's in charge of that. So, and my older sister used to work with us, but she retired now, so it's a family business. Everybody
Oh,
works
that's
together.
great.
It gets along really well. We never fight. We
Oh, that's
always there for.
amazing. That's
Yes, I love
amazing.
it. And I live with my baby. My baby's Charlie, my little dog. Everybody knows him because he's the cutest dog in the world.
Oh. Can you tell us how did you start face painting? Why did you decide to go for face painting?
Okay, like I said, I had when my children were little, when I was little, actually, my parents used to do big birthday parties for us. And it
Mm-hmm.
was usually costume where you get to dress up in a costume, and they were very elaborate. And when my children were little, I wanted to carry that tradition. So I always wanted to give them really nice, big birthday parties.
Mm-hmm.
And then one year, when my daughter was 6 and the other one was 2, one and a half, 4 years apart, I said to the 6-year-old, "Well, what kind of a party should we do next year?" And she says, "Let's do a circus party." So I said, "Okay." So I planned a circus party and I dressed up as a clown. My makeup was horrible. And then I did the party, but I was able to entertain the children really well. And I made up things, like I had just a refrigerator. I bought a new refrigerator. It came in a box. So I took the box and I cut a little hole and covered it up and made it like a puppet page. And I only had 2 puppets. I had a Santa Claus puppet and a bunny puppet. So I did a whole story about when Santa Claus came for Easter. And the children were really entertained and I loved it. So the next year I said to her again, "Well, what kind?" And all the kids came dressed up like something from the circus. So I said to her, "What should we do this year?" And she goes, "I want another circus party." And I said, "What about if we make it a clown party?" So she says, "Okay." So I hired a clown to come and entertain, and he was terrible. And I was a stay-at-home mother at the time, and I kept saying, "You know what? I can do this. I paid him, this is like maybe almost 40 years ago. I said, I paid him like $75 to come over and do this party. And I go, I can do that. And you know what? If I do 2 parties a weekend, that's $150. Then my husband doesn't have to give me, or I have to steal from the budget, to get something for me. And he can stay home with the kids on a Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, I want to do this. So I started finding out, and then I found out there was a class in the high school. And when I went to go take the class, the teacher was the guy I hired. So, yeah. But I learned. And then I learned that it came very easy to me. Like some people, I realized that I had what it took because I was naturally very witty, and kids always gravitated towards me. So I just learned really fast, and I became pretty popular. Like the first convention that I ever went to as a clown, the people during the banquet were given like a People's Choice ballot to choose the clown that they thought was their favorite clowns at the event. And I had only been doing it for a year. And then I got that Clown of the Year award on the first convention. So everything came very natural to me, everything. So I just started doing that. And then one year I went to Canada. And then in Canada, we went to a festival, and there was these people in this cute little tent, and they were face painting, and I had never seen that before. But when I was a little girl, I used to color and draw, and I was, artistic in that way. And I still did arts and crafts and sewed for my kids and make little necklaces, which I still do, and things like that. And I started watching them, and I started taking notes, and they didn't like it. But I kept saying, I'm from the United States, you're in Canada. This is just so interesting. I want to do this when I get home. So I brought it home, and I started teaching myself. And then I was being invited to clown conventions to teach, or because I was winning all these competitions without even trying. So then one day I brought the face paints, and it was only Krylon. At that time, it was only Krylon and Mem liquids. That was it. So then I brought them over, and I asked the people, can I face paint in the lobby? They had no idea what that was. So I said, sure. So I started face painting, and then people started asking me, wow, that's really cool. And then there was a convention. There was the biggest convention at that time. And they had a magazine called The Laugh Makers, and they did a convention not only for clowns, but for magicians and all kinds of children entertainers. So, and it was very hard to get, it's very hard to get invited to FABAIC because it was so popular. It was very hard to get invited to that convention. So then the lady came over and asked me if I would go to her event and teach this. And I go, yeah, why not? So then she says to me, you have anything to sell? And I said, no. So then I go, oh my God. So then I called Kryler and a mirror and some brushes, and I said, I'm going to this event and I want to teach this, and people need it in order for the class. Can I buy some wholesale? They say, that's how Silly Farm started. Everything that happened to me happened kind of by accident. And so I went and I started teaching the clowns face painting. And then later on, Snazaroo. Are you familiar with Snazaroo? The paints? Okay, so Snazaroo came into the business. And then he contacted me, the guy that was in charge of the distributorship in the United States. And he says, you can sell these paints for me. So I said, sure. So I started promoting Snazaroo and everything. And then the internet happened. Yes. And then he was the very first one to set up a group for face painters. But then he's a good businessman, and he was really into selling Snazaroo, and he wanted everybody to use only Snazaroo. So, and then he would tell people that the Krylon day glows, the neon paints, that they weren't approved, that they were dangerous and all this. So people would send me a whole container of the Krylon paint and get mad at me and saying, you're selling me things that are not safe. And I said, no, that's not true. But I couldn't say anything in his group because he would let me. So then I was thinking, okay, how do I tell people that these paints are really safe? Because Krylon was already in business for 50 years. And I said, there's no way a company can sell a product for 50 years that is not safe. And then Krylon says, no, they explain it to me. Everything about the neon colors, which was relatively safe. There's just certain things that the United States requires to put on the labels. Just like any paint, they tell you not to put blue on the lips. And I said, why? And they said, because if the person is choking and there's blue on the lips, they're not going to know if they're choking or if they
Oh,
can breathe. Little stupid things like that, you know.
I see, I see.
So anyway, I said, okay. So I said, okay, and I don't know anything about the internet. It's just happening, right? So I said, how do I let everybody that buys from me know that they know they don't have to return the paint? Yes, they can use it. So then I said, okay, I'm going to do a magazine. I've never done a magazine before. You have to go to school in college to be a magazine editor. So at that time, there was a young man that had come from Argentina, and he had come to the United States to learn to go to school. And then he didn't want to go back to Argentina, and he was on a student visa. So my friend called me. She goes, my son has this friend here, but he's on a student visa, and they're eating me out of the house because they're young and they eat too much. Is there anything you can do so that he can make a little bit of money, at least for food? So I said, I didn't have, I was just by myself. So I said, bring him over. He can help me with the orders. And he heard me talking about a magazine with somebody. And then he says, you know what? I just graduated from graphic design school. That's what I graduated from. I can help you do a magazine. So I said, really? And he goes, yeah. So then I said, what do we need? And he says, I need a Mac computer and I need this Photoshop thing. It was like a $4,000 investment. So I said, okay, we just do this magazine. And then I decided to write. I said, listen, I'm going to write all the people that are buying from me. I'm going to tell them I'm going to print the magazine. It's going to be $30 a year. Don't ask me what I got that price because I didn't have anything in paper. I just said, let's do it. So, and then if 100 people send me $30, then we can do the magazine. And they did. They trusted me and they sent me this money. And then it took us like 5 months from there to put it together. And then we put it together and then I started meeting people. And then all of a sudden I found out that Disney World had face painters already and they were already painting beautiful. And then I found out I went to a Halloween and party show and met Oliver Seegers. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a painter he passed away already, but he was from Belgium. And he was amazing, amazing, amazing. So I started seeing that face painting has been around. It's not discovered. And there's some people that are very, very good at it, even a lot better than I ever was. And then I went to a clown convention, and Jeannie came to the clown convention with her husband because her husband was a clown. And she says to me, well, do you mind if I paint in the lobby? And I said, no, of course not. So she started painting in the lobby, and I started seeing all these beautiful faces. And I said, you know what? I said, next class, you coming with me and you're going to help me teach that class because everybody thinks I'm painting that and I have no idea how you're doing it, but it's beautiful. So, so I kind of she came over and I said, this is the girl that's been painting in the lobby, not me. So she's going to teach the class because she's better than me. So, so then it started, and then I started discovering all these people and I started putting them in the magazine. And Mark Reed, the Wolf Brothers. The first issue was Oliver Seegers on the cover. The second issue was Jeannie in the cover. The third issue was all of the Disney painters. And it was Joseph Pardoff and it was the Wolf Brothers. And then people wanted to meet these artists that I was putting in the magazine.
Yes.
So I went to a clown convention and a girlfriend of mine had worked through, in a clown convention, everything is volunteer. So she volunteered to be the secretary, and then she volunteered to be this, and then finally she got to where she got nominated to be president. I don't know why, because everybody blames you for everything and you don't get paid. So then somebody nominated somebody else that had a lot more name recognition. And she was so upset. So I found her with her sister crying. And I said, what's the matter? And she goes, I worked so hard, for this organization. And now they nominated him and he won. And I'm just so disappointed. So I said, you know what? One of these days, we can do a face painting convention. And you can be the president. You can be everything. We don't have to have a board. Nobody can tell us what to do. So she said, really? And I said, yeah. So about a month later, she called me. And she goes, are you serious? And I said, yes. And then she had all the connections. She was more of the business part of the deal. I was more had the connections for the artists.
Mhm,
I had the
mhm,
connection for the classes. I had the
mhm.
connection knowing what needed to be taught. She had the connection of the hotel. She had the connection of the entertainment, all the other things we needed. So that's how FABAIC got started.
Mhm.
And then we were together for about 5 years, and she decided to go to psychology school. So Silly Farm took over. And at the same time, Heather took over Silly Farm because she got out of school. And I told her when she was young, she used to say, "Yeah, Marcela, how do you run a business? You don't have inventory control. You don't balance your checkbook. You don't do this." And I said, "You know what? When you get out of school, you can take over." And she went to school and she graduated top of her class with a degree of marketing and communication.
Mhm.
And she knew that the future of the business was on the internet online. So she
Yes,
geared
yes.
everything and she just, Silly Farm was, I never made money with Silly Farm. Went from here to here. And then I was going to keep the magazine. And then, because I really like, so she goes, "Okay, you keep the magazine, I'll take over Silly Farm." Fine. So then when the accountant came over, because she's doing everything like he's supposed to do that.
Yes.
She has a business plan, she has numbers, she has everything. So she calls an accountant to go over the inventory, to find out how much inventory I have, how much you need to pay me, what are we going to do, what percentage is going to give me. And then the accountant comes over to me and he says, "So how much money are you making on this magazine?" And I said, "I don't know." And then he says, "How much money you owe on your line of credit at the bank?" And I said, "I don't know." So he says, "How about $21,000? And I go, "I don't know $21,000. All I did with my line of credit was fix the bathroom. That was like $7,000. He goes, "Yeah. The rest of the money is like every time you pay for something for the magazine and the money wasn't in the bank, they took it out of your line of credit. So your magazine is losing like $2,000 to $3,000 every time you publish it." And I go, "No." So I had to give it up.
Oh.
So, okay, I did 14 issues and I introduced a lot of people, and a lot of people in the
Mhm, mhm,
magazine
mhm.
are now some of the best in our community. A lot of them were there. The
Yes.
people that I feel right now, a lot of the people that are newer in the industry but very extremely talented are
Yes.
getting a lot of recognition. But the people that were the most influential in making this industry grow are not getting as much recognition.
Mhm.
I know that did you interview
Mm-mm.
Nicole? Did you interview Nicole?
Yes, yes. He was
Yeah,
actually the first
because
one.
him and his brother were very influential. So the first year of the convention, all of the painters from Disney World came to the convention to be part of the convention, and they taught as a group. And then
Mhm.
people went like, and then they had a book called Creative Face Painting that they just
Mhm.
put out in the market, and they wanted to sell it. So everybody went crazy because that book was almost like I already had a book out, but it was nothing compared to theirs. And then everybody went crazy because they had never seen face painting like that. And now they're meeting all these people that are
Yes.
so good at it. And then the first convention, there was only like 3 people that were doing body painting. The second convention, another 6 people. The third convention, we decided to add body painting competition, and we couldn't get anybody to compete. And
Mhm.
now at one convention, we opened the body painting competition, and we had more people that we could possibly put on the stage competing.
Ah.
So now we limited to 25 people
Uh-huh.
competition.
That's still a
competition.
lot.
So
Still a lot of
yeah,
work around that as well.
yeah, it grew. It grew very
Yes.
fast once, and then other people started coming in, and all of a sudden it just went from people in the United States not knowing much about face painting or not seeing much about face painting to all of a sudden, you know, a lot of
Mhm,
people
mhm.
are doing face painting. And then the past, I say, 10 years or so, when the convention started to happen, then it started growing even more. And then Fava TV was uh, the first place where you can go online and
Mhm,
learn like
mhm,
that.
mhm,
But
mhm.
actually, Heather put the very first YouTube videos on face painting.
Mhm.
And then she started with Fava TV. And then now there's a lot of different platforms because when something works, other people are going to come and do the same thing
Of
because
course,
it's
yes.
working. It's how business grows and that's how everybody grows together. So now there's a lot of opportunities, for people to learn. So that created an industry of extremely talented people. and people that are already artistic and now they take classes. And when, I told Hendra, one time I told Heather, I said, you know what? Do you know what my mantra is? And she goes, what? And I said, wow. Because every time I open up Facebook, all of the studies started going like, wow, wow. And then it seems like now you're recognizing the different style from different countries.
Yes.
And that happens at FABAIC because like the last FABAIC, we had 26 countries represented. And for me, the most fun was those are the people from Costa Rica. Those are the Mexicans. Those are the people from South America. Those are the Russian people. You guys are like the best, like I paint in Alaska with a Russian friend of mine, and she told me she had 18 years of art school. So I said, no wonder you can paint with a brush that has one hair and those tiny, tiny little details so perfect, So there's a lot of artists that have schooling in art school, art degree. And there's some other people that they don't have art school, but they're extremely talented, like Marcela Bustamante. She took her first class with me. And when I saw her do her strokes and how fast she picked up, I said, oh my God, you're going places. Because it usually takes a person a longer time and a lot of practice to get a perfect teardrop. While you're doing it after 5 minutes of me telling you how to do it. So, so now it's a really exciting time for the industry because there's so much out there. And it's just so awesome to watch what people are doing and how creative they are and how they have elevated the industry to levels that I personally never imagined. And now they're making money. Still after the pandemic, we'll have to slow down a little, but they are painting and enjoying it. And that's the biggest thing. And making it a business because a lot of people are managing to make a living out of face painting. A lot of them have a job. The majority, they do make a living, and there's nothing better than making a living doing what you love.
Exactly, yes. And if going back to you, who inspired you in your paintings?
My first inspiration were both Jeannie and Oliver, because they were the two people that I met first that knew how to face paint when I was teaching people that had no idea how to face paint. And then when I first met Oliver, and then I met Jeannie. So and it was just amazing to watch, and they're so talented. I mean, so talented. And then to watch what they were doing, and I said, oh God, I want to be that good, I just really want to be that good. So they inspired me. And Jeannie became like an adoptive daughter, so and then we think of each other. I think of her as my daughter. She thinks of it as my mom. So she taught me a lot. And Oliver taught me a lot. And a lot of things that I used to want to face paint like really, really fast all the time, And again, they were artists, so they will watch me. They said no, and sometimes I wanted to put like more into the design that was necessary, like more details than necessary, make it really busy. And then I would face painting with Jeannie, and Jeannie would come over and she would slap me in the hand and go, stop. And I go, why? He goes, stop. And I go, why? He goes, look at it. He goes, did you really need some extra dots? And I go, I guess not. And I go, you actually have too many. Erase some of them. So, things like that they taught me. And Oliver will say to me when I was face painting with him, because I did get opportunities to paint with them at the beginning, he will say, Marcela, he goes, step back. Back. Look at the design from a distance. Because you like this when you paint your face. You always need to step back and see what it is that you're doing. So the two of them taught me more than anybody. And then, of course, Nick and Brian came to the picture. Jocelyn Cardo came to the picture. I was editing the magazine and seeing what they were doing. And then Heather started with the phalates, so I was seeing a lot more. And then, it's funny because I was saying, when I first started painting, Denise Cole was here this weekend with me at my house, and she's really good. I have a lot of people coming to visit me to go paint. And then people used to say, I don't want to go and paint with Marcela because it's intimidating. And now it's reversed. I don't want to go paint with them because it's intimidating. Because, I didn't spend the pandemic practicing like a lot of people did. So I always felt like I fell behind some because I practice mostly when I go to work, and I do so many other things besides face painting. Like I do my shows, I do my magic, I do balloons, I make things around the house, I make things with beads, I decorate, I paint furniture. So
I've got one of your things that was made from beads. Oh, I cannot. One of your things that is.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got one. Yeah, I made those for the competition online.
Yeah,
right?
That was online. Yes.
Yeah. So I have them all over my house, everywhere.
When it came, I was like, oh, it's so nice and shiny, it's so pretty.
Yeah. And if you put it by a window that has sun, it will give you rainbows.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so it's really nice. So so I do a lot of things, and I'm not one of those that I love watching other people be better than me, and especially people. They always say, sometimes they say, "Oh my gosh, you taught me my first class," and I go, "Oh good, because look how good you are now, and you gotta teach me," So I just love it, and it's just a great place, and it's a great industry to be in. It's fun. When you do art is just like smiling. It's like a universal language. Everybody loves it. And then you reach people. And just like I tell people, it's not about how fast you paint. It's not about how well you paint. It's not about how artistic you are. It's about how you make that person sitting on the chair feel. You don't have to be the best painter. You have to have the best attitude, because that's what's going to make you more successful than anything else. Right now, I've been doing this for almost 40 years. Now I'm doing third generation parties. I'm doing the parties of the children that I did when they were little. And so they grew up, they had children, and now their children have children. Now I'm doing the children again, and they go to their homes and they got albums with my pictures when I was like 20 years old doing this. But they remember, and that's what it is. It's more about, because sometimes people bicker a lot on the internet and they get mad at each other. And I said, it's not, oh, you copied
that's
my
not
picture.
The way. Yeah, no.
I said, everything has been painted. Everything. It doesn't matter. I'll send you a magazine from 40 years ago, and you see that design, that a variation of exactly the same design was painted before. And then, and the ones that gave us the ideas are the people that came in at that time. Are the Jocelyn's, the Wolf brothers, the Olivers, the Genies, the Mark Reeds, the people like that were there at the beginning teaching you. Like, you cannot paint a tiger without thinking of Mark Reed, even though the tigers have been painted before, but he was the one that taught most people how a tiger should be painted and what the tiger lines should look like. Because he's so talented at that, and that's his favorite design to paint. Yes, so it's amazing. It's amazing. And now it's like I said, especially when I see the artwork from the Russian girls, it's so intricate and so delicate, and you just gotta go, wow, it's amazing how you guys paint, and it's so dainty. Yeah. But some other people, it's more heavy. But yours is my style. That's why I love it so much. Yeah. And then this year I have a couple of Russian girls coming. Of course, they can come, but they're going to be on Zoom. Milena, she's not able to come, and she's not even able to be on Zoom live because I think they took off the Facebook or the internet, and it's really hard now to be online from Russia.
Yeah, the
so she was able to tape the class on Zoom, so we're going to show it as a tape class, so she could be, because she came to the last convention. I invited her as a guest, not to teach, but as a guest. And she won, of course, first place in the competition. But she painted in the lobby, and people was fascinated by her because she's so friendly, and
she's a lovely person.
And she wanted to give, and she wanted to teach, and she wanted to anybody that wanted to get painted by her, she wanted to paint it. And same thing with Mateo. I mean, he's just the sweetest man walking on earth. He never says no. He's always with a smile, and he's just like, his talent is over the roof. there's a lot
Okay.
of people like that now.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's come back to you. What are your favorite? Because you talk a lot about other people, which is lovely, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but what are your favorite designs to paint, or what is it that you known? What artwork what themes you're known for?
Okay, I'm a girly girl. I would rather paint girls all day long than paint the boys, even though, I can paint the boys. But my favorite designs are anything that comes out pretty. I love anything with rainbows, with flowers, with butterflies, things that are pretty. I don't like gore. I don't do gore. I don't do anything with blood. That's FX. That's not my thing. But yeah, pretty stuff. Just and simple. I don't like to get complicated. I don't paint anything that takes me more than 5 minutes maybe, and that's when I have time. Because I'm always, all my jobs, because our company has been around for so long, we have a lot of corporate events for the cities, for country clubs, for libraries, and they have a lot of people, and it's always a line at the door. So, so you need to learn how to paint fast without, but giving good quality. So, uh, and I don't like a particular design more than another when the girl, except that they're girly and cute and pretty. I like my interaction with the children when I paint. So, like, for example, and then I like to paint according to the child's face. So I have a trick that I do, because I never use a board unless I'm working at a fair and I'm part of a group of painters that are working there, and you have a board and you follow that. But I'd rather just paint whatever I want and try to convince them. So I never use a board, because I feel it takes too long, and then they want exactly like on the board. And if you change the colors,
Yes. Oh, that's true. Yes. Yes.
That's fun.
Yes.
So I always say, okay, first of all, you welcome them, like, hi, what's your name? And then, Ulianka, is that how you say it? Ulianka. How do you pronounce your name?
Ulianka.
Ulianka. Yeah. So I said, oh, hi, Ulianka, I love your glasses. You're so cute. Because how old are you? You're the boyfriend. And then, you kind of, and then once I get their complete attention and they're looking at me, then I know they were communicating. So I said, okay, let me ask you this, Ulianka. Did you want to be a princess, a kitty, a bunny, a flower, a butterfly, a fairy, a unicorn, something with hearts, stars, or diamonds? Or do you want me to paint you something extra special just for you? What do you think they say? Oh, yeah, you want something extra special just for you? Okay. And then I can look at her face and say, she looks like a fairy to me. She looks like a puppy to me. She looks like a little bunny to me. I just kind of know what design will look the cutest on her. But sometimes they come, no, I want to be a princess or a butterfly. So then I do whatever, match the colors, the color of the eyes, the color of the things, whatever butterfly I want to paint, a fast one or a more intricate one if I have time. So, so that's what I do. So every design that I paint, it doesn't matter what it is, and it really doesn't matter if it's for a boy or a girl. I just wanted to have the child be really happy at the end and look in the mirror and go, oh, I like it, and then communicate with me, and a lot of times they hug me at the end. So anytime I get a hug without asking, I don't care if I'm having a really bad day painting, because everybody has bad days. I don't care who you are. Everybody has bad days. So where the lines don't go as straight, you forget which way they go. So so even if I'm having a bad day, if they give me a hug, or they remember me, or they wave at me when they leave, and things like that, that's what I like about this thing, more than the whatever I paint. So and that's just because I love kids. I love kids. And communicate really well with them. They're like my little friends. I love them. But yeah, I like everything except gore. No gore for me.
I see. So speaking about the brands, the question is, do you own your own brand or represent or support any brand? But you already said like a lot about the convention.
Okay, and you mean like the paints, like the fab paints and the fab products? No, I don't. Heather took over the business about 17, 18 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She took over Silly Farm.
Mm-hmm.
And Heather is really very, very, very smart when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
business. She is a great entrepreneur. She designs things. She comes out with ideas like the Fala TV, her paint, her brushes. She tries everything. She sees where there's a need, and then she tries to develop a product or a service
Mm-hmm.
to cover that need. So all of the products and all of this thing, all of that is Heather.
Mm-hmm.
That's her thing, and that's who made Silly Farm successful. That's who made FABAIC successful. I'm more like the PCB. Now we have, my sister, her mother works with FABAIC in the world, Heather works with FABAIC in Palatine, Silly Farm is them. But if it's anything that needs to be done, like on the products, Heather says, okay, listen, there's these new brushes that this person is making. Before I put them in the inventory, we need to try them, make sure they work correctly, because I don't want to sell any product that doesn't work. So she would give me the brushes, and I would get to try them, and I would tell her, yes, I like this. If she designed the new black and white, then because I need you to take the black and white, I need you to work with it, I need you to tell me how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do for her, but I don't have anything really to do much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they tell me what needs to be done, and I do it. At FABAIC, the same thing. They're kind of like in charge of producing the convention, but they said, okay, Marcela, you need to talk to these instructors. You need to tell me ask them what classes they want to teach, figure out a schedule for them. But they do all the hard work. I'm just more on almost like retiring mood. Tell me what to do, I do it, and then I don't have to worry about making mistakes with this or that. I like that. But it took me a long time to get to this point. When I was in charge of everything, it was like, because I'm not organized. I'm terrible. I am so disorganized with everything. My kid, when I go to work, I go with Jeannie. And at the end of the day, Jeannie's kid will be so nice and clean. Like when she first came in, mine will be a mess. I can never find anything around the house because I don't put everything back where it belongs. So, and I just can't break that habit. So, it's better if somebody else. I don't like to book myself. So I'd rather the agencies book me, tell me where to be, at what time, and send me a check later. Because I don't want to talk to the customer and then I don't put it on my calendar, or I forget about it, or I don't show up. So right now at this point in my life, I'm in a perfect place for my personality, for myself. Tell me what to do. I'll go do it. Tell me what you need. I will help you. I will never say no. I don't care what it is that they need. If it's an emergency, they need to go deliver something. Doesn't matter. Just tell me what needs to be done, and they know they can count on me. And I would stop anything to do whatever they need. But really, is Heather, and mostly Heather that is everything. She works harder than anybody, and she's so talented in so many ways. And she's so successful in everything she does.
Okay.
You need to interview her one day.
Sorry?
Yeah, because you need to interview Heather one day. She's amazing.
I will try. Yeah. I was writing her a message, but I don't think she's seen it. I didn't ask her about interview yet, but I was asking about something that she didn't answer yet. So I don't know.
Yeah. She's got 50 projects going on at this time.
I can believe that. Yeah.
And she's got 2 little kids and a husband. I'm by myself. All I got is my puppy. So my dog. So I have a lot more time, to do it. But sometimes I help her. Sometimes I go into her Facebook, because she checks her emails, but she forgets to check her Facebook messages. Because she's not on Facebook that much except to advertise what she's doing. So, so I there, and I answer whenever somebody writes into Silly Farm. Then I go in there, and then if I can answer the question, I'll answer. If not, I let them know this person needs this question.
Yeah. It is certainly in my plan to ask her if she would like to be a part of this project. Definitely. Yes.
Yeah, she will. She's really sweet. She'll help anybody anytime. That's another thing she does. She's just very good at that. Okay.
Yeah. So the next question is: have you competed or have you won in any competitions? You actually said about your chosen as a clown, but I would like to change this question. Well, of course, I would like you to answer this question, but also, are you judging as well at the events that you organize?
No, I don't like judging.
That
I
was
don't like,
my intention.
we have a children's competition. So I do like to judge the children competition because it's so much fun. Like they come over and they paint in a head or another person, and you ask a question, why did you do that? And they go into these big explanations, and they're so cute. So I like, and then not only that, we give everybody, all the children get a medal. There's no first, second, and third prize. They all get a medal. But when I was judging, like at the clown convention and other conventions, I found out that people get upset with you if they feel that they should get a better score, or and then everybody likes something different. So I rather get my judges that really like to judge to be the judges. So I don't, and I've never competed in a face painting competition because there was never a face painting competition to compete in till the convention stuff. And then I was the one producing the convention, so I didn't have time to compete even if I wanted to. And I really enjoy watching everybody else compete. So no, I never competed and I'm not much into competition. I'm more into, like I said, just doing it and enjoying it and loving what I do. But competition is very big for a lot of people. For a lot of people. So
a lot of people don't like compete. I met a lot of amazing artists and they say that they don't like to compete. A lot of people love to compete, and not just to be, not to like me. I love to compete, but it's more about myself, about challenging and painting it and doing the specific time. I love this. Yes, it's really exciting.
That's what I tell them. I said, if you're not going to have fun and if you're going to get so stressed, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yes, it's not that's the point.
You're going to have a group of judges. There's a minimum of 4 judges. Every single one is going to have a different taste and a different opinion.
Exactly.
So some of them, like let's say that you have like Nick, who really likes the really out of space monster kind of a thing. That's his favorite style. Then you have Jeannie, who loves the very abstract, because she went from flowery thing to very abstract style. Then you might have somebody like Denise Cole, for example, who really likes girly stuff. But then you might have somebody like Onali, who really likes superheroes and boy stuff like that. So now you have 4 different, and then you come out and paint something that is very, very girlish. So Jeannie and somebody else might love it so much because it's their style, while Nick is too girly for him. So so you just never know, how they for you. But the people that I choose for my competition, I always tell them, this is the most important points in my competition is technique. Watch the technique first, because you can paint something really amazing, but if the technique is not perfect, take points out of it, because technique is more important than anything. And that's the painters that are outstanding. The painters that you look at a picture of them online and you go, wow. If you really analyze it, you understand is they got perfect brush strokes and perfect blending and perfect techniques, and their teardrops always end up in a fine point, and their lines end up in a fine point. And a lot of people that are not that familiar or that are well schooled or familiar with this, they don't see that. What the judges see that. And so a lot of people say, well, they thought my title was really good, and then then they have to point, but look at your lines. They're not as good as you think they are. You know what I mean? So I don't compete, but in my competition, we're very strict about technique, blending, the flow, the design. It's just not about just painting like anything. And I always tell people, prepare. The way that Madeline Greco, Madeline Greco?
Yes.
Okay, well, Madeline has won 5 times. She won at the World Body Painting competition. That is a big thing. And especially for a woman, because it seems that mostly the best body painters in the world are male, if you notice that. The best body painters are usually male. So for her to win 5 times, so one time I said, I want you to come to FABAIC, and I want you to tell people what it is that make you win at the competition. And she says, preparedness. So says, I knew I was going to compete at the World Body Painting, so I got my model. And I paid for my model's ticket to go with me to Vienna. And I painted her 5 times with the design before I went to compete. So when I got to the World Body Painting competition, I knew every single curve in my model's body. I knew exactly what colors I was going to use. I knew everything that needed to be tweaked had already been tweaked. So I knew exactly what I was doing. So I was completely relaxed, knowing that I had plenty of time and knowing that I knew exactly what I was doing. And I had the accessories, I had everything. I didn't have to win anything. So, she says, just prepare for it. So now I tell everybody, you want to compete, whether it's face painting or body painting, prepare your design now. Paint it a lot of times. Because once you get into the competition room, if it's the first time you're going to paint something, you're going to be nervous. And if you're nervous, you're not going to put out your best job. But if you're confident that you know what you're doing because you already prepared for it, then you might have a really good chance of winning. A really good chance of winning, even against people that are very, very good at what they do. One time we let our instructors compete, and Marguerite competed, and everybody was complaining to me, why are you letting Marguerite compete? That's not fair. He's a teacher, And I said, oh, it's a master's competition. He is the master. So, so I feel, and he came in second. And I said, see that? He came in second. Everybody was complaining about Marguerite competing, and he didn't even win. So now the person that won first against Marguerite can just say, yeah, I came in first and Marguerite came in second. And Marguerite has a really big name and a really good reputation. And I'm just a brand new person competing. And I came, so I gave her that, for that. So competitions are
you can never say like your design is the best, your painting is the best, because there are too many good artists, and it depends on the judges how they like specific even like vision of the theme. So it's more, it should be more for fun for yourself rather than for winning. Yes.
Yeah, because at the convention at FABAIC, what we do is on Sundays the body art competition. So they all spend 6 hours painting. So before the gala banquet starts, we have the stage and we put all the models up on the stage, and then we open the door and we have music and lights and everything, and everybody's given a ballot. And they get to look at they got a half an hour to look at all of the paintings, and they get to write the number they don't have the name of the artist, just numbers that they're holding. So they get to choose the one that they like the best. A couple of years in a row, the first place that the judges picked and the first place that the people picked were the same. But most of the time, the first place that the judges pick and the first place that the people pick is completely different. But they usually between the first 3 or 4 people in the between the 25 people are usually no more than the 5th, but nobody has win that has not been in the first 5 on the people's choice.
And they don't know who is the artist. I mean, they're not told. Yeah, but sometimes, quite often you see who is the artist because their style.
But a lot of times you can recognize who the artist is.
Yes.
Again, they have a very particular style.
Yes.
For example, one of the people that win at a lot of competitions because competing is what he loves to do more than anything is Alex Hansen.
Yes.
When you see a body painting by Alex Hansen, it's Alex Hansen before you even see who it is.
Yes.
And on the internet, like let's see, Margie Cantor.
Yes.
So any Margie Cantor puts a picture on the internet before you even know
you can see that's her. Yes.
So somebody, Avi Ram, he also has a very style, so you can tell who they are. But you also, even though you can tell, like when Avi won it twice, and he's the one that had won first place by the judges and first place by the people. But you can tell that it's Avi, but on the other hand, you cannot deny that he's the best painting in the world.
Of course.
So he's amazing too. I love Avi. He's just, and he's doing so well. Oh my God, I love him. He's just so good at what he does.
I hope
Yeah.
to see him here as well at some point.
Yeah, he's
There.
I met Avi. He was at the flea market, face painting T-shirts and baseball caps at a flea market in Fort Lauderdale. And then he had some pictures of the body painting he had done, and then with airbrush. And I go, oh my God, you do body painting? He goes, a little bit. And then I said, come over to City Farm because we sell paint there and everything. And then then he said, oh my God, look at this, look at what people are doing. And then he got into it, and now he's so successful. He just got like a $60,000 gig painting a mural in a high-rise building for the city of Fort Lauderdale. That's how amazing he is. And,
yeah, he is amazing. Yes.
Not only is he amazing, but he has such a good attitude. It's just like Mateo. There's a lot of people that are amazing, but sometimes they don't have a really good attitude, and that kind of lowers them, in my opinion. No, yeah. But the people that are so amazing and they have such a great attitude are like the best ones in my list. And obviously, he's amazing.
What do you like what do you like the most? Because you say so many positive things. So what do you like the most about face painting world?
The fact that it's so popular now, and the fact that I never imagined that it was going to get this big, and the fact that I feel very proud of myself, that I had a lot to do with it in the United States. Because after I started doing it in the United States, then I found out Europe has been doing it. England already had a convention way before I had a convention. They had a magazine way before I had a magazine. Austria were painting way before we were painting here. They already have, Belgium has the most amazing artists like Oliver. So, but United States didn't have that. So, so just the fact that I was influential in putting people together and introducing other people to great artists and designing classes and books and conventions and selling products so that they could get better. That's what I like. I love to see people that I taught their first class in face painting, like Marcela Bustamante, that she came for the very first time. She was only just discovering face painting, came to my class to see her where she's now. She's an amazing artist. She's selling products. She has her own line of brushes. She does all these things, things like that. That's what I like the most. I like to see people developing and being very successful and being very nice to each other and learning from each other. So and a lot of people like that, and then mostly just seeing, because I'm really going to be retiring really soon. I just want to stay home and do nothing. Not do nothing, but I don't want to go out and work that much, and I don't want to, I just want to kind of stay home and do paint, go to parties and paint, but be able to say, oh, today I don't want to work. I ain't saved enough money to retire yet, so I got to do it for a little while. But, that's more when I just want to slow down, and I get a lot more pleasure watching people, what they're doing, and coming from when I first saw them to where they're now, because they're so dedicated. Gio Guzman, I don't know, okay, he paints every single day, and now she's teaching classes on all of South America, and because she's teaching so much and she practices so much, every time she puts something in there, it's like, wow. And then there's the girls from Naples. Oh, Martina, they're called Florida Clowns, and I need to send you a link. They're Russians, but they live like 2 hours from me, and she's the one that she paints beautiful Russian style, because you got a very definitely style. They're from Russia just by the way they paint, perfectly done, executed. And then she makes these hats and feathers and flowers, and before she takes the picture, she posts the model with if you're online on the Everything Face and Body Art Forum, you see her there. And she's got
probably no. I know most of face painters who are posting because I'm constantly in the topic.
But you can't. She posts a lot, and she takes, and then I said, how do you have time to dress up the people that you paint in a job and take these beautiful pictures at the same time? And again, like she puts a feather boa and these beautiful, beautiful, intricate headpieces that she makes, and then she's really good at taking pictures. So so when she posts something, I'm like, wow. I mean, this is so beautiful. So I wanted her to come to the convention and teach what it is that she does so well, like the headpieces together with the picture. But she's too afraid of teaching in front of people. The other one that was very afraid to teach in front of people was Svetlana. You know Svetlana Keller?
Yes.
Okay, she's amazing. But she's a go-getter and a perfectionist. So I said, Solana, come on, you can come to the convention. You can teach. People want to learn from you. No, I'm too afraid. And then last year, during the pandemic, she decided to go take a class on public speaking. And then she called us, okay, taking a class so that I'm not afraid to talk to people. So, okay, I'm going to go to FABAIC.
But she's going this year.
Yeah, and it's the first time ever that she's going to teach.
I see,
so she says she's not that person anymore. And Svetlana, she does everything perfect. She's a photographer.
Yes.
She's so beautiful. She does, her kids are so good. So I'm so happy she's coming. So I like to see people like that, and I like to see like her tell me, okay, after 5 years of asking her, okay, I'm going to do it. and then just knowing that I was able to talk her into it, to do something else that she's always wanted to do, was always too afraid to do. So, and then on the other hand, I'm sad that people like Jeannie have moved away from the face painting world. And she decided to have a regular job. She works in a block bank, and then she does canvas. And her degree is interior decorator. So now her boyfriend, they bought a house, so she's really busy decorating and designing the house of her dreams. So she has no time and no desire to face painting. So that saddens me a little. She's so good at it. But no, I just love, my favorite part is just watching people grow. Watching people come from not knowing much, like the people from Mexico. I took them to Mexico to a convention there. My friend says, come on, teach these people how to face paint. They had no idea that this even existed. This is like less than 10 years ago. And look at the Mexican people, what they're doing. It's like, wow. I mean, it's like, oh my God, they're so good at it.
When I was living in Poland 15 years ago, I didn't know that there's a face painting as such. So it is developing, and that's why I decided to run this project as well, because I want people, because I try to put also subtitles so people can swap to different languages so they can be inspired. I also add some pictures of people's work so they can see, they can know more about these people who teach, who win. So they have more, like, they want to learn more about that as well. And
it's important for people to know the history.
Yes.
How it started. To know the people that made it what it is today. The pioneers in the industry. Right now, there's so many of them. But 30, 40 years ago, there was only a few people painting. There weren't that many. And those are the people that need to be recognized more than the people that are painting even better than the pioneers, because they're so good at what they do. And there's a lot of them. There's more people doing amazing work than people not doing amazing work. So I get a lot of joy from watching the industry grow. And knowing that one day when I don't do this anymore, or when I'm not here anymore, because the fact of the matter, I just turned 70. So you don't live forever, but just the fact that people are going to continue this makes me really happy.
Yes. And is there anything that you don't like about the face painting world?
Or I don't like the blood, and I mean I admire the people that can do this very well. The FX, there's a rule for it. I don't like it when people paint violent things on children. Like I don't like it when they put like bullet holes or cuts, or even the tire markings that they put already sometimes. face on the stencil. I don't like that because I don't like it. It
Mm-hmm.
just does something to me. Even though sometimes they can be very artistic pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was one time a friend of mine who's very much into gore and very much into the effects part of the business and everything. She painted a piece very well done, very well done. But it was a girl taking a shower in a bathroom, and she had cut herself, and she had painted all the cuts, and she was like this in the shower, and the blood was running into the shower because it was on. And then I'm going, children are really doing this. Teenagers are
Mm-hmm.
really cutting themselves for real.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
want to see it. I don't want to see a little kid with a bullet hole in his face.
Uh-huh.
I don't care if it's an adult, fine. Just do it on adults. Just don't mess
Uh-huh.
up with my baby. And then I had an experience where one time I was painting with another painter, and we were, I think it was a country club, and the painter painting the tire markings on the little kid's face with some scratches and some blood. All of a sudden, his mother went ballistic because her child, a couple of years ago, her small child, I think the husband had backed up the car and had run him over with the car. So
Mm.
the whole memory of her losing the child, being run over by a car, and this little child being painted with a tire marking
Mm-hmm.
on his face threw her over. And then she was just like hysterical. And the painter didn't know what to do. And then I said, let's just wash it off. Let's just wash it off. And then calm down, calm down. And then they calmed the mother, but it was something that left me like, oh my God, just be very careful
Mm-hmm.
what you paint. You
Yes.
know, um, and I like, I would paint something on a child's hand during Halloween, like a cut. And I said, okay, one, let's do it on your hand, not on your face. And then you go freak out your mother and goes, Mom, I cut myself, and then laugh about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I don't, every time I see one on the internet, click, goodbye. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I don't like. But it's me. I don't like blood. I don't like
Yeah.
violence at all. I'm so pacifist that I don't like I don't even can watch a movie where a
Yeah.
child is being hurt in any way because I walk
Mm-hmm.
out or I turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't like a movie where a person is being tortured. No, I turn it off. I don't
Yeah.
like horror movies, but some people love them.
Yes.
My
Yes.
grandson, he loves horror movies. And I go, no, you come to my house. No, we're not going to watch a horror movie. I don't like it here.
Yeah.
No. But, everybody's different, and,
Yes, that's
and
true. That's true.
they don't mean it in a wrong way. It's just
Yeah.
fun for them. It's just
Yeah.
not fun for me. So,
Yeah.
but if it's fun and they enjoy it and it's okay, then just do
Yeah.
it. It's just gore is not for me. That's the only
Yeah.
part of face painting,
I went through a
you know?
phase when I had also quite a few like gore paintings, but that was
Yeah,
actually imposed on me because I used to do videos for BBC social media, and they asked
yeah,
me to do all of this
yeah,
stuff, and then I realized that I'm not really enjoying doing this. I would prefer
yeah,
more pretty stuff, and since then
yeah,
I don't even think I painted anything with blood.
yeah,
Yeah, so I kind
yeah.
yeah.
Because in a lot of cities here in the United States, they do emergency drills, like when
Mm-hmm.
emergency happens, and then they want to teach the doctors or the
Oh yes.
the ambulance. So they bring people, and then artists get hired. Usually, it's effects artists. They get
Mm-hmm.
hired to make wounds and things on the victims, so that they can be taught what to do about it, and they make it very realistic. And
Oh
I
wow.
did one because I was a group of painters that were doing that. But I had such a hard time because some of the ones that were doing were so realistic. I don't want to do
Yes,
that.
yes, they
So I
are.
don't
They
do it
can be
anymore.
very, very real.
Yeah. But they get paid for doing that, and it's a job, and it's a paying job, and there's a room. See, that's what I said. There's always a room for everything, and it's just a matter of respect. Don't put people down. They don't want to do that. Like, I paint babies because they let me. I have
Mm-hmm.
painted babies all my life, but a lot of people say, "Don't paint anybody under 3 years old." Blah,
Yes,
blah.
yes,
And
yes.
then if you put a picture of a baby there, and I said, "Let me." I have painted all my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchild, my friends'
Yeah.
babies. When
As long as
everybody,
children are happy. Because some children
Yeah,
don't want to be painted. And
yeah,
then as
yeah.
parents, like, they're trying, can you paint him? I'll hold him. No, no. If
No,
they
no,
want to be painted, if they are.
yeah. So you know what they do when I have a trick when they do that, they bring the baby,
Yeah.
and the baby's crying, and the baby's like, "Ah," and I look at the mother in the eyes, and I get really close to her, and I said, listen, I will paint him if he lets me,
Yeah,
okay? So then
exactly.
I get really close to the baby, and I said, baby, do you want to get painted? And he's going, ah, and I said, I'm sorry, mom. He said, no, let's.
Yes.
And then some said, listen, he's not going to let me paint it. So put your finger like this. I'm going to put a little bit of red paint on your finger, and you try to put a little red nose. And then the mother takes the finger, and then the baby's going like this. And then I said, see, it's not me. He's not going to let me or you or anybody.
Yeah.
If he doesn't let the mother paint it, he's not going to let me paint it. So I need to move the line. And then I just get him out of there, you know.
Yeah.
But if they let me, I had the whole album on baby paintings, and I will never stop painting.
Yeah.
And like I said, I painted everybody. You're not going to put a full face on a
No,
baby.
just a
You're going to
little
use the
bit. Yeah.
powders, and you put very little, and you know, and they're okay.
You know what
The paint is
they quite often like when they don't want to get painted. I say to mom, let me paint you, or on
yeah,
your hand, and then baby is watching like the flowers
yeah,
appears, and then they're giving your hand, and can
yeah,
I have a flower, like, you know, just like showing that they want to have
yeah,
something on their arm, and this is a nice way
exactly.
to be painted, but you know,
Yeah,
differently.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like the real little ones because they have such cute faces, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yes, I
this is so
know.
good. But I also like the teenagers when I go to Alaska for the Alaskan State Fair. The reason why I like that fair so much is because on most of the fairs that I go, and I don't do too many fairs, but on most of the fairs that I go, it's mostly the children that get painted. While in Alaska, it's a 50-50. 50% of the kids get painted, but 50% of the adults get painted. And a lot of the teenagers get painted. And so I just love it because they're like, oh, this is fun. And I said, and when I paint the parents, I said, you're never too old to have fun.
No.
You know,
No.
so they get painted, and then they realize why the children like it so much, because when you get
Yes.
painted, it's like a feather touching your face, and it's so relaxing. And so, you know, so I like that. I like what the adults discover, that it's a fun thing to do, and it feels really good, and that it looks really good, and that's what their children like it. They can smile and be happy for a minute. Most everybody's so stressed, you know,
Yes.
everybody. It's like, because there's so many bad things happening in the world, and even if it's not happening to you, you still, you know, you still take it in, you know, and you don't know what to do because it's
there's
beyond your
nothing you can
control.
do. Yes, there's not much.
No, nothing. Yeah, except, you know, feel bad for the people being affected. But and then face painting is a stress relief. You know, it's really a stress relief. It's a stress for children, it's stress relief for children, for adults. So we're doing something so important. And a lot of face painters don't realize that our job is so important in other ways, being a really good painter, or besides knowing how to paint 1,000 different faces, or, you know, besides having won a competition or being invited to teach or anything. No, it's about bringing joy to the world. That's the most important thing. And to the person sitting in front of you, and to give him a memory that it will last a lifetime. Oh yeah, you face painted me when I was 5 years old. I mean, that to me is the biggest compliment, especially if it's coming from a 20-year-old. You know, and he said, oh, you face painted me, you face painted my children when they were little, and blah, blah, blah. Like, not long ago, because my clown name used to be Mama Clown, so it's easy to remember. And I did a lot of work. And I'm driving, and then Heather had got these crayons where you paint in the windows of the car, like when Jess made it. So anyway, so she went with the crayons to try them, and she put in the back of window, I love Mama Clown. So I'm driving, and people are beeping their horn, and I'm ready to get mad at them, and then they were going like this. And then I parked at the drugstore, and there was a car next to me parked, and the girl got out, and she may be like in her 30s, you know, and then the mother was with her. So she gets out, and she says, you know Mama Clown? And I said, well, I am Mama Clown. She goes, oh, no kidding. So the mother gets out of the car, and she goes, Mom, guess what this is? I told you, guess what this is? It's Mama Clown. This is what the mother did. She goes, oh my God, you're still alive. You're still alive. Then I go, she didn't mean it wrong. It's just that I did the party for her daughter when she was a little girl. And it's like
Oh.
30 years later, and here I am, you know. So she goes, you're still alive. And I go, yeah, and kicking. So that
No.
was fun. But see, those are the things that I love more than anything else. You know, knowing that they remember me, knowing that they're calling me for the kids' parties, knowing that they recognize me after so many years,
Some years.
knowing that I left a lasting expression. And it wasn't because of what I did, because they won't remember the magic trick. They don't remember the story. I mean, they don't remember if I juggled 2 balls or 3 balls or 10 balls. They don't remember what I painted on them. They just remember that they
You.
felt
Yeah,
good
yeah.
when they were around me. And that's
Mm-hmm.
more important to me than anything else. How do
Yes.
you make people feel? And the fact that we have an avenue and a brush to give people that gift is
Mm-hmm.
what a face painting is for me. And this is what I wanted to be my legacy, to let
Mm-hmm.
people know, don't worry so much about how well you paint, how fast you paint, how great you paint, how good you were
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Worry about treating people the right way. Worry about being patient with parents. Worry
Yes.
about how you answer. Like sometimes they put on the internet, oh, well, this lady wanted me to give her a discount. And I said, no, I'm not going to give her a discount. No, figure out why she wants a discount and then in a nice way tell her, it's not possible for me to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
don't get mad at her and do things
Yes.
like
Well,
that.
you
That
decide
doesn't,
if you're not happy with the price, you just do somebody else
yeah.
at least,
And then when
What
something
else?
happens, take a deep breath and know that you're only there for a little while and then figure out how to solve this situation. Because if you get up when something is going on, like people fighting in the line, and you get in the middle and you start fighting with them or trying to stop the fight or something, that's not going to work. You throw in more wood into the fire, and then the fire is going to get bigger, and everybody's going, no.
Mm-hmm.
You're the entertainer. You're the face painter. It's your line. It's up to you to educate yourself and know how to stop that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I just said, for mom, dad, it's not about us. It's about the children. And I said, and if we fight, everybody's going to be upset. So let's see how we can do this. If you think he was next in line and you think she was next in line, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paint them both at the same time. Is that okay? And then you solve it, and then they remember you. Oh, okay, she fixed the problem, and nobody got upset, and nobody started punching each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't understand how important that part of our job is.
Yeah.
Knowing how to stay calm,
Very
knowing how
important.
to smile,
How to deal,
knowing
yes.
how to be polite, knowing not to lose our cool no matter what. There was a commercial that says, "Don't let them see you sweat." It's the same thing for any kind of business. Don't let them see you sweat. At FABAIC, I'm always running around putting out fires, but people don't know I'm putting out fires because I don't let them know. It's not their business.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's what I want more than anything else, for people to understand is attitude
Mm-hmm.
above everything. And then creating memories so they remember what you did with your brush and your art that
Mm-hmm.
made them feel so good at that moment that they remember that moment for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even if you're a new beginner painter and your butterflies look like hell, it doesn't matter. If that child looked in the mirror, he doesn't know your butterfly is not the best butterfly in the world or it's not well done. He just knows that you painted him and you loved him and you were nice to him and you hugged him and you made him feel good and you showed him in the mirror and he
Mm-hmm.
liked it and the parents liked it and he's going to remember that moment. He's going to
Yeah.
remember what you painted or how bad it was, or 5 years from now said, oh my God, that butterfly she painted on me was horrible. No, he's going to remember that butterfly she painted on me made me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I really
Yes.
want people
Yes.
to understand. It's all about an attitude more than anything else.
If we speak about stories, about the memories, do you have any funny stories during your face painting events?
Oh God, I could write a book about it. Okay, I got so many of them. Uh, Okay, one of them, not too long ago, my face painting kit is a box and it closes like this and then it opens like this, like a book.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it in the back of my cart and then all I have to do is grab the handle and then go out. So I'm going to a city event, lots of kids. So I park the car And I pick up my case and I didn't realize it was open because I had something taken out of it. So as soon as I pick it up, everything fell. But when I parked, there was one of those grills that where the water goes, where the water drains like a drain. And most of my paints went inside the drain. So I had no paints. And I'm going, oh my God. So luckily I have a palette in my glove compartment that I always keep with some extra brushes and some extra glitter. So I save whatever paint didn't go in the thing, put it back together, got my extra palette, and then I painted. Thank God my brushes didn't fell in the on the thing because they were inside the kit. So I had brushes and I had some paint, and I go, oh my God. And then I go, well, thank God I own Silly Farm, so I can go replace everything and it's not going to cost me that much. But I mean, I saw the road going, then, oh my God. Then another time I had requests, like really funny requests. Like this little kid is really serious. And I said, okay, did you want to be a tiger, a lion, an Indian, a Batman, a Spider-Man, a dog, a cat, a shark, a snake? What do you want to be? And then he says, a rabbi. And I go, what? He goes, a rabbi. And then I go, okay, what does a rabbi looks like? And then so I just painted the long things in here and little beard and blessed him. And he was perfectly happy with that. But sometimes you get like really funny requests from the kids. And then one time I wasn't a face, I was more like a clown at that time. I had a restaurant that hired me to go once a week they had two locations. So once a week I would go one location, the second to the other. And I've been doing it for a long time. And the reason why I started is because the owner's children really like me. And the father said to me one day, I'm going to hire you as a babysitter because my kids really like you. So I said, I don't do babysitting, but why don't you hire me to come to your restaurant and let's do a family night, and then you can bring your kids once a week to see me. He thought it was a great idea. So for the longest time, I think like 7 years, those two restaurants saved my day because it was on a Wednesday and a Thursday during the week, like from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. So then I said, okay, so I go over there and then I will do their kids' birthday parties. So one day I go to the little kids, and they like 4 kids. So I go to their kids' birthday party, and then I say goodbye, da da da, and then I get in my van, and then I start driving. I'm like 2 blocks away. I look in my back mirror, and there's a little kid sitting in my back seat. And I go, oh my God. And I go, what are you doing there? I goes, I want to go home with you. And I said, no, you can't. He got in my car. He got in the back seat. And I didn't know it was. And then when I come back, they were already looking for him. And then I'm going, I'm so sorry. I didn't try to kidnap him. He got in my car. So I go, oh my God, he got in my car. And that was funny. That was really funny. Because, if you imagine, you can't find your kid and then the face painter comes because she's in the car with her. So that was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like funny requests, And sometimes kids open up to me in the middle of the face painting and you don't know what to say. Like this little child one time, I'm face painting her and everything, and she's so cute, and she's like 5 years old. And then all of a sudden she goes to me, she goes, "Where do babies come from?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "Where do babies come from?" And I'm really witty. This is why I was so good at clowning, because I was able to come out with answers off the top of my head. So I said, "You know what, baby? I don't really know for sure, but I know that pencils come from Pennsylvania." So she goes, "Okay," but like, what do you say to that? You don't know what the children are telling you. And then there's situations where they haven't been that nice. There's a lot of really good memories, but there's a lot of other memories that will always bother me a lot. Like one time I was at a street event for the city, and this child, who was like 12 years old, and he came over and I told him all the choices, and he chose a snake. So I went and I proceeded and I painted a snake on his face. And then when he turned around, his grandmother was the one that brought him, and she was talking to some other people. And when he turned around, this woman freaked out because I painted a snake on his face, and that was from the devil, and that was against her religion. And she went like, take that off from him. And I mean, and she's making this, she's screaming and yelling in my booth and yelling at me and I said, that's what he wanted. I said, that's okay. I'll take it off. So then, so then I brought it and I said, listen, you really need to calm down. This is what the child asked me for, and this is what I painted him. But if it's not something that he should have in your face for whatever reason, if you just calm down a little, I have baby wipes here and I'm going to take it off, okay? And then she calmed down. I was able to calm her down. And she started to highlight, like if I would have painted a swastika or something on his face. So then I started wiping him off really slowly, and I get really close to his face. And I said, listen, baby, there's absolutely, to his ear, there's nothing wrong with snakes. God made snakes, just like he made every animal on this earth. When you get a little bit bigger, I want you to Google on the internet about God and find things about God, and don't believe everything the big people in your life tell you. Because when you're 18, you can choose whatever you want to believe. Mm-hmm. But for now, you got to make him happy. Just like I got to make him happy, and that's why I'm taking the snake off. And then I'm going to make you like something else. So then he wanted to be a Batman. So I asked her, he wants to be a Batman. Is that okay with you? And he goes, yeah. And I said, okay, it's okay with that. I'll make you Batman. But I mean, she was so exaggerated over his name.
I know.
And she makes that
like...
and then the fact that she was screaming like I had tortured her child. And just saying all these horrible things about the devil, and she just went off the deep end, that woman. And then everybody in the booth is like calling attention to me, and the people that were around me, they understood what's going on, and they understood it was her fault, and she was being over dramatic and not reasonable. But the people that were in the other booth where something else was going on, they just knew there was a lot of commotion, and they stayed screaming in my booth, and they didn't know what it was about, so they didn't feel that. You know what I mean? So things like that happen. You have both. But luckily for me, I mean super lucky, I hardly ever have any problems. I hardly ever, because I'm always pretty calm, and I always know how to control and how to calm people and say no, like, with a really soft voice and a smile. It's not necessary. It's okay. I'll wash it off. And even though inside of me I want to kick them, but I don't. So so people need to. That's another thing. They need to learn patience. It needs to be courtesy, kindness, patience, loving the people you work with, being attentive, having a great attitude. All of those things are just as important to bring to the job that it is your paints and your brushes and your skills. For me, they're even more important. So hopefully they learn. But there's a lot of really nice painters out there with a lot of patience and awesome with the kids.
Do you have any other professional background? Have you been trained as somebody else? Not connected to face painting or clown?
No.
Before
I started clowning, I got out of school, high school. I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then then I was a hippie. So I got married right away. And then we went to San Francisco, and it was in the middle of the hippie movement and the Vietnam War. And I lived right in the middle of everything. So I was a hippie for a few years, peace, love, rock and roll, sex, whatever. And so then I got pregnant, and then I had children, and my first child. And it was pretty dramatic because I was so lost in this in this lifestyle. So I came home, but now I got a child. I got to get serious. So then I said, okay, what am I going to do? Because I never went to college. I never went to, just high school. Then I was a hippie. So then I had my daughter, and then I met these people. They were also hippies, but a couple of them were midwives, and they were delivering babies at home. So I'm going, oh, I like to do that because I love babies, So I was training to be a midwife, and I actually deliver like 25 children that are older now. They're in their 30s. And right now or longer, and so I was. But then I found clowning, and then I couldn't do both. And then with the midwifery, I had to quit. Even if I wasn't doing this, that would have been my dream job, to bring babies into the world. But what happened with the midwifery is because you're not a doctor, you deliver the babies at home most of the time. So then if the person went into labor at 2 o'clock in the morning and they called you, you get out of bed and you go deliver that baby.
Mhm.
And then the lady can have 2 hours labor, or they can have 40 hours labor.
Yes.
So for as long person was the mother was in labor, you as the midwife had to stay there.
Mhm.
So my husband, he says, this is not going, because we got 2 kids, and then what are we going to do? You leave at 2 in the morning, you don't come back till 6 in the afternoon, and what do we do with the kids? And So he
Yes.
didn't like that. So then I found plowing, and that's when I quit that, and then I said, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to be a housewife. You're doing good money, so I just stay home till I figure it out. And then clowning, it was just dumping to my lap. And that was a great solution, because that job was only Saturdays and Sundays. And he could stay home with the kids.
Yes,
And that's how it took off. So no, I never really did anything else. The magazine was a fluke, because I never went to school for that. I just decided that's what I needed to do. And then I did it. I never set out to be a teacher and to teach anything. I was just asked because they saw me do something that wasn't around anymore. I never set out to do a convention, but then my friend was crying, so I said, let's do one. Like everything that happened in my life, when I look back, it was more like accidental than planned.
But still,
Like
you were doing this. You didn't say, oh, I cannot do this. You just were doing this.
If it sounded like fun, I would do it. Yeah, it sounds like fun. Let's go do it. So I've been lucky in that way, really, really lucky. I was talking to my daughter the other day, because my daughter is a nurse. So I always talk to my daughter about death and dying and what to do, and make a plan, because a lot of people get older and they forget to tell their children what they want. And they forget to give their children really important information that they need to know when the person passes away. Well, my daughter deals with death every day as an emergency care nurse. My other daughter don't want to hear it. So I always tell my oldest daughter, listen, Stephanie, she has all the power to do all the medical decisions. If she tells you, I'm going to disconnect my mom from this tooth because she never wanted to be connected to them, I don't want you to fight her. And I want you to promise me right now that she's going to do what she has to do, because she knows we will talk about it. I can't talk about it with you because she won't let me. So she says, so we talk about it. So even my daughter said, what was the question before? Because she said to me something about, what were we talking? I lost the train of thought.
Oh, we were talking about professional background.
Of backgrounds, yeah. So I was saying to her, it just came out like I was just saying to you, you know what, Stephanie? I am so, when she asked me when I was going to retire, and I said, from what? I've never had to work in my life because I love what I do. And I'm always entertaining, and there's always a party going on. And it's not like I'm going to a 9-to-5 job with everybody stressed and everybody sitting back of the desk.
Yes.
And then I looked at her and I said, I have been so blessed, and I have never realized it so much that at this moment in my life, when I look back and I realized that I have been everything I always wanted, and everything I set out to do has been a blessing. I have never really had that many crises. I mean, of course, I went through a divorce, but even though I went through a divorce, I love my ex-husband. We're really good friends. I love his new wife. I love his children. We have no problem with that. When we first broke up with the girl that I did the convention, Cynthia, that we started the convention, there was some discrepancies on what she was paying me, what we were making, and my sister and Heather never got really mad at her. We're really good friends now. You just kind of like, I'm really good at letting things go. So I said, I've always been so lucky. I just never really looked for anything. I never said, okay, when I grow up, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, and I got to go to school to learn this, like most people do. I just had no idea. So I became a hippie. And then being a hippie, you were like free. You were like a free soul. And then I learned to meditate. And I learned to do yoga. I don't do yoga anymore, but I learned to meditate when I was in my 20s. That was the best gift that ever happened to me, because I think that's what has always kept me so calm, and then just, the hippie movement was such a loving, crazy, but loving, I smoked a lot of pot, when I was young. And so, so everything just came to me in like, I have to show you something. Let me see where it is. And then my daughter knows about this picture. I hope you can see it when I show it to you. Okay, so what happened was my friend Michelle, she lives in New York. And this was right after 9/11. Her husband is an iron worker. So he was working in making the monuments on by where the 9/11 towers used to be. They made a monument. So there was a building where you can go in and go like to the 7th floor. And there was an observation deck, like these big windows where you can see what was being done as a memorial for the 9/11 tragedy. So we went over there, and it was really funny because everybody's talking, blah, 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 and then when you see 9/11 observation tower, everybody quiets down because you remember where you were in that moment, because it was such a big moment for most people that are alive today, because we all went through it, and we could not believe the tragedy of that big could happen in the United States, because we always like the war in the Ukraine now. We feel bad, at least I do, but it's like our life is going on as normal, but the life in Ukraine is not, and they're being killed every day. But that doesn't happen in the United States. We're really lucky, So but this happened in the United States, so we realize that we're not as lucky or as secure as we think we are. So we went over there, and she's a professional photographer, so she had her camera. So her husband comes, and with her and her 2 kids. So she says, take a picture of us. So we went against the wall, and he took a picture, and the camera went click, 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 3 pictures because the camera is so good. So then she went and put him on the computer. So the first picture, there was absolutely nothing unusual about it. The third picture, there was nothing unusual about it. But the middle picture, let me see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, can you see it? There's an angel behind me. See that? See the wings? Right here. And then they go all the way behind me. You see it? There's like 2 wings. They go right behind me, and then it's right in between my legs. It's not between the children's legs. It's not behind the legs. It's not behind her. It's like right behind my head. Angel wings. And I go, oh my God, it's my angel. And I really feel that I have always had like an angel behind me, watching me and making all these things happen for me. So I've been super lucky. I am so lucky. I am so blessed. And I know when I die, I'm going to die with a smile in my face, which is the most important thing, the best gift that the world can give you, is to die happy, surrounded by people that love you. There's nothing better than that.
I think it's still too early to talk about this.
But I'm realistic. It's like, from zero, when you're born, like you're a child, and then you can wait till you're 21, and then when you're 21, you think 30 is so. But then when you hit 30, you realize you're not really that old. The 30, from 1 to 30 is the first stage in your life. And then you go from 30 to 60, and then that's the best time in your life, because you're older, you're more mature,
the children are bigger.
Stable. Yeah, exactly. There's so from 30, I think the 40s and 50s are the best years in your life. And then all of a sudden, boom, you turn 60. And then little by little, you start realizing people die anywhere from 60 to 90. Very few people live to 100. So that means that from 0 to 30 is the first step in your life. From 30 to 60 is the second stage in your life. And from 60 to 100 or 90 is the third step. And after that, you ain't going to be here anymore. It's just reality. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just reality. So, and then when you then after 60, the time starts going really fast. And that's why people make their bucket list. Oh my God, I'm getting older. I didn't do this. I didn't go to this place. And then you make a list of all the things that you haven't done that you want to do, and then you try to do it because you realize how short time really is. From 0 to 30, you think you want to live forever. From 30 to 60, you never think of you as an older person. From 60, and then when you hit 70, you go, okay, 70, 80, 90. I started FABAIC 20 years ago, and it feels like yesterday. daughter is going to turn 50 in 3 weeks. I remember my 50th party like it was yesterday. That was 20 years ago. So, so then you realize, okay, time is going really fast. So you want to do a lot of things, and you want to, but then on the other hand, you have to prepare for it. And you don't have to be afraid. And you have to talk to your people. And my funeral is already planned. I want a mariachi band. I want balloons. I want a party. And then my daughter, they understand, and I sleep in my recliner chair a lot because I broke my collarbone one time and on the bed, every time I turn, it hurt. So now I sleep better in my recliner chair. So when people come and visit me, and if my vacation rental is rented, then they sleep on my bed and I sleep here. They know that. So, so I told my kids, listen, I want to die in my recliner chair. I'm going to have a thing of duct tape. And then if you find me, because I died on my sleep, because that's really what I want. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of the process. Most people have to get cancer, whatever. So I said, but in your sleep is another gift that God gives to you. So I said, so I hope I die in my sleep. And if you find me, then you just tie me with the duct tape to my recliner chair and take me like that to the crematorium, and let it be the wood. So and then when you are able to talk to them, make it lighter. I don't want my kids to suffer like some of my friends are suffering because the parents never talked to them, even though they were really close. I want to prepare them. I'm not going to be, and my grandkids, you need to talk to me because, I'm not going to be here forever. I just want you to remember me like I have a really good life. Not a lot of people do. I had the best life ever. I really didn't have that many crises in my life. I never had really bad things happen to me. I mean, I had the regulars. My mother died when she was young. My dad passed away when he was 69. I had a brother that was 16 that died in a motorcycle accident. So yeah, I had my share like everybody in life does. But for the most part, 90% of my life, I've been really lucky. And that's what I want people to remember. And to know that I was very blessed, I was really lucky, and they should celebrate the fact that I was blessed in that way, and that I had fun.
Yes.
So I said, what do you want on your tombstones? Here lies Marcela. She had more fun than she could handle, and then that's it, and just let it go. Yeah. So here we are.
The next question is, how your life would change if you would have unlimited amount of money? But I think I already know the answer.
You know what? I would give most of it away. I found that, I took a class that was free, like at a college. It was a lecture with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, who are two of the richest men. And then a kid stood up and said, well, if you have so much money, why don't you just throw $1 million my way? And Bill Gates was so good. He goes, I wouldn't do that to you because I would hurt you. And he says, why?
Yes.
He goes, no, you would know what to do with them. Yes. So, and then he went to explain that him and his wife were the biggest philanthropists. They give a lot of money away. But he says, when you give money away, you need to give it the right way. You can't just give it to somebody. So, so what I would do is I would give more to the organizations because you can help everybody. You have to choose who you want to help. So I give a lot to Doctors Without Borders, because I had a friend of mine that was one of them, and I know how much they do for people that are in need all over the country. I give to the doctors that fix the cleft palate on children in underprivileged countries because they're born and they get deformed, they're treated really bad, and they come and fix it. And then save the children. Because children, the closest thing to my heart. So I pick organizations that help children more than anything else. So I think that if I had unlimited amount of money, I think that I would do more to help those organizations help other people. And then I would always have enough to keep. I would love to do things like I do on TikTok, like I see on TikTok or Facebook sometimes, where people give unexpectedly. Like if you're You see a mother in the grocery store and you see she's struggling to pay for the groceries for her children, and then go in and say to the cashier, listen, I'm going to give you, I'm going to pay for the groceries of the lady when she comes through. Here's my credit card, just charge it to her, and then it's paid for. So, so things like that. Be able to give a homeless person a lot more than $5. Because I don't care how they got there. You never know how a homeless person got to be homeless. You never should judge them. You don't give them, because like some of my best friends who are extremely religious and extremely Christians, they don't give $1 to a homeless person. They should go working. How do you know they should go working? Maybe he's got mental issues. Maybe he's got a problem. You don't know how he ended up there. So so I think that I would really love to hang around with $100 bills in my car, and then find somebody in need and give them $100 to $200 when they least expect it, and watch their faces lit up. I think that's what I would do more than anything else. But yeah, I would give a lot, because you don't take it with you. You don't take it. And then I teach my children. It's about giving more than anything else. The more you give, the more you receive. And I've always been a giver, and that's why I think I never lack anything. And whenever I need something, it comes to me in the most unexpected ways. So I said, just give. And I always tell them, when you want to give a little, give more. If you see a homeless person, especially if he's an old man, and there's just no way he can go to work, and he's all alone in this world, if you want to give him $1, give him 5 instead. And see what happens. And it always comes back. Always comes back. So I think that I will be extremely generous more than trying to keep it. For what? So and just help my children. I wouldn't give them a lot of money. I would set them up in business. I will say, go back to school if this is what you want to do, learn with. I would pay for their schooling. I would we'll do things that, instead of giving them the fish, teach them how to fish.
Exactly, yes.
So then when I'm gone, they can keep going. And always remind them, whenever someone helps you, you find somebody else to help. And I always tell people, when they're depressed and when they're having a really hard time, go find somebody that is more needy than you and help them out. Go to a hospital. You know why? You're really upset. One of the things that I used to do, I don't do anymore, I don't have the time, but at one time in my life, is to go and be a baby cuddle. You go to hospitals and you cuddle the babies that are born addicted to drugs. And they scream all the time. But they need to be cuddled all the time, because they're going through withdrawals, and there's not much that the hospital can do. So you just cuddle them, and you put plugs in your ears so that you don't hear the screams that much. But then if you're really upset about something, if you're going through a divorce and you can handle the pain of a divorce, go in the hospital and rock a baby for an hour and put yourself in a baby, and then you get out of there and you say, there's nothing wrong in my life, because this baby is going to be addicted for the rest of his life. So go do something else for somebody that has a lot more problems than you do. And there's always somebody that has more problems than you do. Yes, if you're depressed, go look at videos of what's happening in the Ukraine. Go look at people. This is not soldiers that are getting killed. These are women and children. Hospitals that are being bombed. Put yourself in your shoes and think about what it would be like if you were them at this moment in your life. What would you do? Look at the despair in their faces. And then you know that whatever you're going through is minimal to what somebody else is going through. And then if you can help somebody, go help them. And if you can help them in person, even better. Go to the food bank and stand on the line and give food to these people that don't have anything to eat. And you know what you're going to find out? That the majority of these people that are coming in for food are women with children, because they're the ones that have the babies, and their men are the ones that leave them to fend for themselves. And they're the ones that have to figure out, how am I going to feed my babies? So they go there, and they have to be always the first one in line for the homeless shelters and for the food kitchens are the women with the children. And there's a lack there. So so when you think you're lacking anything, go over there and see what lack really is. And it snaps you out just like this. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I recommend people to do. So that's what I do. I hope I get really
Yeah.
rich sometime and I can do something like that before I
Yeah.
die. It's my bucket list. I put it out there.
Yeah.
Send me a lot of money so I can have fun giving it away. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what person, dead or alive, would you like to invite for dinner?
Um, I think that I would like to invite Barack and Michelle Obama. I really want to see, because I follow them and I see how much good they're doing. And I followed them for the 8 years they were in office, and there was never a scandal. They treated each other with so much respect. They treated their children with so much respect. Everything that they're doing now is based on helping others. And so I would like to, the movies that they have made, the things that they're doing after his presidency, the class that they have and their attitude. I mean, he was treated worse than any president ever in the United States
Mm-hmm.
for the mere fact that he was black. And a lot of people in the United States are racist, and they couldn't understand, especially one of the government parties. We have the Democrats and we have the Republicans, and the Republicans are very mean in a lot of ways. So, but he was never lost his cool. He never got upset. He was always polite. He was fun. He always told jokes. He sang. The way he treated his wife says a lot about a man.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he treated the fact that his wife was so smart. I would love to sit with dinner with them and just talk to them in person and see and get to know them better, because they were just a big inspiration. I cried when he had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I really cried when Trump got in office, because he was the completely different thing that the Obamas were. So yeah, I would love to sit with them and see what and then they stay out of it. As bad as Trump was, he never said anything bad about him. He says, I mean, he's the president, he's not doing the right thing, but I'm not president anymore. And he treated him with a lot of respect. Even he didn't get the respect back, he still treated him with respect. And I think that's really big in my book, when somebody can do that and live life, a public life, with that attitude, especially in government. Because it seems to me that if you're in government, whether it's here or anywhere in the world, one of the qualities you need to have is that you're in some way corrupted. And the Obamas never felt, I felt like that with every president, but I've never felt like that with Obama. I felt that, yeah, he's not the only one making the decisions, because it's a government. There's hundreds of people in the government involved, and he's not the one that makes the decision. He's in charge, but he doesn't make the decision. The Congress makes the decision. So, and the fact that he was able to stand to them with grace was really big in my book. So yeah, I think I would like to sit with them and talk to them about it. And they're super smart on top of it. It's great talking to a smart person, So yeah, it would be my, for now. But that'd probably be a lot of other people, but I think they're the first one that came in mind.
Yeah. Okay. What is the last great book you have read, or what is the book that you can advise to read for everybody?
Oh, well, I read a lot. I'm a reader. So the one that I'm reading right now, which I'm really enjoying, but I like detective books and thrillers. But this one I picked up the other day, because I usually download it on my iPad, but people give me books all the time. And there's a house that has a little library in front of the house where people can drop off books, and then you can pick. So I picked this one the other day, and it's called Big Dogs, and it's basically lessons from dog owners about the dogs and what the dogs have taught them. And because I never had a dog in my life, Charlie's my very first dog. I never had a dog when I was a little girl. I never had a dog. He came into my life because my granddaughter forced me to adopt him. It was the best thing that happened. So this is really good, because animals can teach you so much. So I love this one. I recommend it, but then I just gave my other book. But I have a lot of books. Like I said, I like thrillers. And even though, this is funny, you're going to think this is funny. I don't like horror movies, and I
Uh-huh.
don't like gore, and I don't like anything like that. But one of my favorite authors is Dean Koontz, and he
Uh-huh.
writes all scary books.
Okay.
So I can read a scary book, and Steven Spielberg. I can read their books and everything, but I can't watch the movies.
Maybe in your
Because
imagination it looking differently.
okay, so here is okay. So here, okay, see, I have to
Oh
fix them.
yeah.
But these are, like I say, I have a lot of art books and I have a lot of inspirational books, that on spirituality
Yes.
and things like that. So I still have my books, a lot of art books here. And I'm starting to give things away because my daughter that says, "What am I going to do with all this?" But this is like, here's a lot of my art books where I have, I just read just things like this. This was my first book. Don't laugh, you know, put on a happy
Oh.
face, and that's Heather. Where's Heather? Is Heather in this one? Yeah. Okay, hold on. I have to show you Heather. She's so cute. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm moving this so much. Oh, there she is in one of them. That's little Heather. It's the princess.
Oh.
So, and then I have like, here's like all my, I was printing this. These are all my books that I will never give up. It's all my spiritual books that taught me a lot about life in general. This lady, Marianne Williamson, this one, A Return to Love, is one of my all-time favorite books because it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I like books like that. So, and these ones are other ones, about art. So I pick them up every once in a while, and for entertaining children, I have a lot of those too. So yeah, and my house is all. We just put these windows, this film on the windows. That's why my house is a mess because we have to move everything. But yeah, it's good. So yeah, I love to read. Turn it back. How do I turn it back? Okay, there you go.
Um,
Yeah. But yeah, any good book is good.
yes. What movie can you watch over and over?
None. I don't like to watch movies. I did. Hold on. I did watch a movie 2 times that I really liked because I really wanted my friend to watch it. It was called The Equalizer with Denzel Washington. And it's a movie about this guy that, you do something wrong, he's going to go get you. So,
Okay.
but he's so cool and so collected in the way he gets them and gives them the bad people what they deserve. It's not super gore or super, but it's like, yeah, that's how it should be. Go get him. So yeah, it's called The Equalizer. I watched that twice. But you know what? Another one that I had watched a couple of times, Coco from Walt Disney. Coco, have you?
It rings a bell, but I'm not exactly.
It's about sugar skulls. That holiday.
Oh yes. Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
know who you're talking about.
I love that movie.
That
I
was
love
nice.
that
Yes,
movie.
that is
So
nice.
yeah, so I watched that one a couple of times.
Mm-hmm,
But other than that, I like to repeat too many movies.
I see.
If I put one Netflix that I start watching it and I go, oh, I seen this before. And even though I don't remember what the movie was about, if I recognize that I've seen it before, then I turn it off and go something else.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't repeat movies too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What fictional character do you identify with the most?
Okay. Okay. This is another little story why I identify with her so much. When my granddaughter was little, she used to want to watch movies. Maybe that's why I don't like to watch them over again. She wanted to watch the same movie over and over and over again. And one of her favorite movies was Cinderella. So there's a part in Cinderella where the stepsisters, they tear off her dress and mess up her hair. And then Cinderella goes to the garden and she started to cry. And then the fairy godmother comes over. So, and she will always tell you what was going to happen before it happened. And she's like 3 years old, right at the time. And then this part of the movie comes on and she goes, Grandma, guess what? Guess who's going to come? It's the fairy clown mother. She's just like you. And I go, And I started laughing. I go, is she just like me because she's short and chubby? And he goes, yes, and she has a magic wand because I do
Oh,
magic. So ever since, I always let me go. So I got her fairy godmother around places. So I like
oh,
fairies because of that. So I identify with the fairy godmother just because my granddaughter said I was just like her, and
yeah.
when she was little. So yeah, that's my favorite one.
I
Yeah.
see. Really nice one. Yes. What is your favorite or most inspirational place?
My home.
Mm-hmm.
My home. I love my home. I'm
Mm-hmm.
forever
Yeah.
doing things around the
Okay.
house.
Yeah.
I'm forever painting the furniture, rearranging, making things, making spaces that are really comfortable and conducive to relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my home. I live to work around the house,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and make it nicer every time. Because when I come in, and my happy place is my recliner chair. So, so I just love to come home, and I just like to be here. And I don't, if I could, I would just stay home all the time. But I do like to go to work. But yeah, this is my happy place.
Just
I don't want
somewhere
to
to
even
return.
travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just because I traveled so much for so long. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's like I don't want to get on a plane for 10 hours. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay
Yes.
home. And I've been in this house for 40 years, 43 years. So it's like one time I watched a documentary about a lady, and she was in her 30s, and she got mugged, and she got shot in the face, and she went blind. And she had to learn at an older age how to be a blind person.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she had to learn how to walk around her house, even though she's been in that house for a long time. So and I said, you know what? I'm gonna close my eyes and see if I can walk from my recliner chair to my bedroom with a bump. I knew exactly with my eyes
Mm-hmm.
closed
Mm-hmm.
where everything was. And I mean, of course, I was trying to touch with my hands, make sure that I didn't bump into anything, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew exactly where to go. That's how much comfortable and familiar I'm with this
Mm-hmm.
place. Besides, it's the greatest, one of the greatest gifts that God has ever given me because I bought this house in a really, really good neighborhood a really long time ago. Like I said, I've been here over 40 years. I only paid $84,000 for the house. It's worth over $1 million right now
Mm-hmm.
because I'm really close to the beach and really close to downtown. I have a double yacht. It's a big house. I can rent the front of the house in the vacation
Mm-hmm.
rental. And like I said, I spent all my life, ever since I was a hippie, decorating in the hippie style uh, was my thing. I did something that I really enjoy. So now after so
Mm-hmm.
many years, it's exactly how I want it. And I walk
Mm-hmm.
into my house and I love my house. And then everybody that comes to my house loves my house and thinks it has a really nice feeling. So it makes me feel really good. That they
Mm-hmm.
come over and they love it and some don't want to leave. And people that are having a hard time, I say, just come over and visit me. Just come over for the weekend. And then they come over and they leave and they like live better. Just
Mm-hmm.
because the space I created is very conducive to relaxing
Mm-hmm.
and forgetting your troubles, and it's very colorful. And I just love it. I just love my home. This is my place. I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to come visit me, so I keep working on the house, so that when you come and visit me, you really like it, instead of me going to visit
Uh-huh.
everybody.
Uh-huh.
Just come
Uh-huh.
visit. I gotta stay home and have
I
people come.
see.
Mhm.
Um, what international art destination you want to visit or visited that inspired you, or like you felt really
I,
pleased with that?
Well, I had visited so many places, and I found every place different, but so pretty in so many ways. Not just for my work and my profession,
Mm-hmm.
but general.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought the was it Switzerland, Vienna, where the World Body Painting Festival that was beautiful. Australia was amazing. The beaches with the cliffs,
Mm-hmm.
the kangaroos. London, even though it was really dark all the time when I went there, it was always like rainy kind of season, and the buildings were dark and everything. It still had that unusual atmosphere.
Yes.
Italy, I love Italy about all the places that you can go, and the men, how well dressed they were. I mean, they dress so cool, and so elegant.
I can't
But one of my
remember, but you're
favorite,
probably.
yeah, one of my favorite places in the world is Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mexico because I love their culture.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite music in the world is mariachi music. I love the fact they have hundreds of flowers. I love the
Mm-hmm.
fact that everything is so colorful and so happy, and the people are so friendly. And I always tell everybody, I think I was Mexican in my past life because I love Mexico. And I don't love Mexico, the tourist parts of Mexico. I love the small towns in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and the small cities in Mexico. There's a city, you should Google it one day, it's called Zacatecas,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all stones. The streets are stones. And so I love Mexico, but I also love my own country. We
Mm-hmm.
went there 3 years ago for a family reunion, and we went to these little towns too. That was so picturesque, and then it reminds me of my childhood, and it was so, so beautiful too. So yeah, so Mexico and Colombia. But
Mm-hmm.
then Costa Rica has the most beautiful forest. So every
Oh.
country has something else that if you go with an open mind, you're going to find art, you're going to find color, you're going to find good people, you're going to find beautiful cultures, you're going to find also many things. Another place I always wanted to go that I didn't go, because I've been to Germany, I've been to England, I've been to Vienna, I've been to Australia, I've been to, a lot of places, all over South America when I was traveling and teaching. But one of the places I didn't go was Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I always wanted to go to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have a really big Jewish community in my hometown,
Mm-hmm.
and they hire me all the time, even though I'm not Jewish. But I educated myself in their culture, so I
Mm-hmm.
can do a lot of shows for their holidays. They're
Mm-hmm.
not available for anybody. Like for Purim, I just did a lot of shows for them, and they love me. And a lot of people find the Jewish people in our area hard to get along with.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I don't. I get along really well with them. So I always wanted to go to Israel and go to the wall and see how one wall divides two different religions and two different cultures and two different
Mm-hmm.
things. So yeah, but I don't feel like traveling right now. So
I see.
I think Israel is going to be on my on my thing. And then there's a lot of wars there. I'm glad they have stopped for a while and they moved somewhere
Mm-hmm.
else, because war is always going to be somewhere. I never really I wanted to go to India because I was so much into the Hinduism
Mm-hmm.
religion
Mm-hmm.
and their also their artwork. But I see so many pictures of India, and it saddens me that there's so many people. Oh, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think Japan. I've never been there either, but I think Japan is
Yes. Yes.
awesome. So so serene and beautiful, and all the people are so pretty. You guys never meet a person from Japan that doesn't have those perfect little 12-year-old bodies, and the white skin and the perfect skin. Yeah, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But
So many
yeah, but
places.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I stopped. I said I traveled to so many places now. I see it online. I want to
Yeah.
stay home. Yeah.
Who is the most interesting person that you ever met?
The most interested person I ever met. Oh my God, I have met so, so, so many interested people. There's a friend of mine, and we're hippies together.
Mm-hmm.
So one time, we're in San Francisco and everything. So one time he came to, he was here in my area, and he drove like a hippie van. And then he says, "Can I park my van in the back of your house?" And I said, "Sure." Well, he ended up staying here for like 12 years. But he knew how to do everything around the house. So he's the one that built my deck, and he built my fence, and he did this, and he fixed everything. There was nothing this guy could not do. And he was so smart. But little by little, he was very anti-government. And he was very way ahead of his time as far
Mm-hmm.
as knowing where the world was heading to.
Mm-hmm.
And he would read all these books about governments and what they were doing and where they were heading in the New World Order.
What is
And then
the um, that's
I
name
always
for that?
thought that,
Yes.
yeah, And I always thought he was a little out there. But then what happens is that he bought some land in Kentucky in the middle of nowhere, and he moved there and he decided to go off the grid. That's what they call it, where you don't have a driver's license,
Oh,
you
yes,
don't, they
yes,
don't
yes.
have your, you don't want anything to do with them. And he was always amazed me because he was always, I knew that if something happened in this world where people were going to be put into a survival mode, or if I was lost in the jungle, or if I was in a shipwreck, which I was in the middle of the ocean, there is no other person that I would like to be with than Bill, because I knew he knew how to survive. And I always said he should have gone in that survival show because he knew more about survival than anybody that I knew. He just knew how to do everything. So I think that he was super interesting because he was, everybody thought he was a bum because he lived in the van and he lived in the back of my house, and sometimes he didn't even take showers and everything. But when you spoke to him, you, and even after he left is when I understood that he was actually really a genius in his IQ in so many ways. And sometimes that's what happens to people that have a very high IQ. They want to get off this normal society, and then they want to go isolate and be by themselves and say, I don't get this because it's not the way it should be. So so I think he was really interesting, and he did a lot of things that fascinated me. Like he collected the old-fashioned cameras, the one that would take 3D pictures, and then he had those little, they came
Yes,
in a little
the
circle,
black.
and then you would put them on the circle and you go click, click, and you see everything in three-dimensional. So he will collect those cameras, and then he will go to garage sales and thrift stores and estate sales, and he will look for pictures that he can look through his cameras. And then one time he found a box, and it was a family, and it was apparently it was a doctor and his wife, and they had like 5 kids, and it was from, and they traveled all over the world, and the wife would always wear pearls and hold her little purse like this, and they would take pictures of her in front of the Eiffel Tower, in front of the pyramids, in front of this, and they were all three-dimensional pictures, so you could see almost like you were there. And they would sit on my deck and look through these pictures with his cameras and make up names for the family, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and then we'll say to each other, "Oh my God!" He would say, "Listen, if you notice the boy that we named George, let's say, George is not in the pictures anymore. Something happened to him. He must have died or something because he's not in the pictures anymore." And then we will go through all and we try to figure out who was who in the family. And I would just spend hours with him looking through the history of the family that we didn't even know. But it was in pictures, and the pictures were so clear, and they were three-dimensional. And he just loved it. That was like his favorite hobby, just collect. And he would take pictures of buildings, and then 5 years later, these buildings will be destroyed to make something newer and more modern. And then we'll go to, oh, remember this building, or remember. And then one time he came, like after 25 years or so that I saw him, and then he came over, and then he knew to bring his camera because he knew I really liked that. And then we sat down again, and it was our hometown, my hometown and my neighborhood 30 years ago when he was living here with me in my backyard, and what my house looked like, what my neighborhood looked like, what the downtown looked like. And then it doesn't look like that anymore at all. So I think, yeah, Bill was super interesting.
Interesting
Really
story.
interesting. He's
Very
like,
interesting.
I see him maybe once every 3 years he pops in because he has to do something in this area, get his teeth fixed or something. But other than that, you don't see him anymore. And I always wonder how he is, but I know that if anybody can survive in the middle of the jungle, it's Bill. And sustain himself with nothing.
I see.
So yeah. It's interesting.
We have two last questions. So,
Okay.
what is the best advice that you've been given?
Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah.
That's one of them. But another advice that I took by heart and that I live by a lot of my life, and I think it's another reason why I'm able to let go of things and not stress. And that's another reason why I'm so healthy, because stress causes a lot of health issues. It makes you sick.
Yes.
And I don't stress. One of the things, I was reading a book about the Buddha, and the Buddha was very much like Jesus Christ. He went away for a long time and he sat under the tree and he meditated to try to find his spiritual truth. Jesus Christ went away for 30 years to the garden to do the same thing. When they finished and they discovered their spiritual truth, they felt compelled to go to the masses and teach it, what they had learned in their meditation. And people followed them because they were people that had a lot of wisdom and people needed to learn from them. So anyway, and just like Jesus Christ had a lot of people that didn't believe he was the Messiah and they crucified him and did all these things. A lot of people didn't believe that Buddha was the enlightened one. That's what the Buddhists call it, the enlightened one. And they will heckle him and be mean to him too. So one day there was this man that kept following him and heckling him, being mean to him and doing things to him, and he will never respond. So then finally he said to him, I've been following you, and I've been being mean to you, and I've been heckling you, and I've been doing all these things to you. Why don't you say something? And the Buddha looked at him, and this is what I took to heart and never forgot it. And the Buddha said to him, when somebody offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who does that gift belong to? I don't want to accept the gift of your anger and your insecurities and your heckling and your bad moods. You can keep it. So now when somebody bothers me and it really hurts me or something, I don't take it personal anymore. I say,
yes,
no, I'm not going to accept what you're saying to me, because your opinion of me is not as important as the opinion that I have for myself. So, if you want to think of me that way, and if you want to say those things, and if you want to put me down or whatever, you have all the right to do that. But I'm not going to take it personally, because we all have reflection. So, and a lot of these things come from people that are insecure and they come from jealousy. So, no, I let it go. I don't accept it. I say, thank you.
Yeah, I work part-time as a teacher, and I work with ASN children, so additional support children. And the first rule is not taking anything personally, because that comes from something that they have in the background, and we cannot take it like not seriously. I mean, we do take it seriously, but it's more like you take it positive. You try to deal with situations not personally. It's not aggression towards you. It's aggression out of them.
Because and then you never know how a person was raised and why they act the way they act.
Exactly.
Like if one of my best friends in the world, he's very religious and he's very Christian. And across the street from me, there's a very Orthodox Jewish temple. And he's one of those that he was raised that one of your jobs in life, one of your missions in life is to try to convince other people to be Christians like you. And they don't respect other people's religions. So, like I would say to him, Leon, if you were born across the street to a parent in that Jewish Orthodox temple, you will be defending that upbringing and that faith as well as you defend your Christianity. You gotta respect everybody. But then on the other hand, when you look back, you say, okay, he was born in Fayetteville, South Carolina. That is the very middle of what the United States called the Bible Belt, where people were raised in that type of evangelical Christianity, where there's only one way and no other way. And if you don't believe like they do, you're going to burn in the fires of hell. So the children are raised that way. Just like if you raise the child in an atmosphere of parents who are Nazis or Ku Klux Klan or anything like that, you're going to be raised to hate, and you're going to be raised to do crimes. I used to watch court TV where a person was being charged with a very bad crime, and then their lawyers were fighting to defend them or to prosecute him. And I used to watch it because I think if I had another profession, maybe like a judge or something like that. So I would listen to all the horrible things that this person did. And I would get so mad and I say, yeah, he deserves to be in jail and he deserves to be this and da-da-da. And then it ended up, and let's say he was found guilty, because he was. Then a couple of weeks later, there was the trial, where he was going to be sentenced. He was either going to be in jail for so many years or he was going to put in the electric chair. The judge had to decide what kind of punishment he deserved for his crime. So at this point, a lot of people that knew this person will come in front of the judge to ask him to give him a leaner sentence because. And then they start talking about his childhood. And then you start finding out that his parents stuck him in a closet for days at a time and didn't give him food. Then you find out that he was raped when he was a small child, or that she was raped. Then she found out that she was tortured by the adults in her life, or that she was they kicked her around on the streets when she was 12 or 13 and he had to make men. So then you say, yeah, what other choice did this child have to become an adult that is not a good adult for society and to commit this crime? Just like when you read about all those young children going and taking a shotgun and going to schools and killing their friends. Look at their parents in their house. Why would the parents have 30 guns in there for their kids and teaching them those things? So, you need to look at the background. So I say, don't ever judge anybody. First, find out where they're coming from. Now, some people are born evil. And even if they have good parents and everything, they're just evil. I don't know how they turn that way. So I say, those. Stay away from them. But most people, when you see where they're coming from, and a lot of people have mental issues that other people don't understand. And, you work with children that are mentally handicapped. So, but a lot of children a long time ago, they weren't diagnosed. All those mental handicap issues are basically 20 years old. Before they used to take those children and stick them in an orphanage or stick them in a crazy house, an insane asylum, and that's how they grew up because they had no help. So, so I don't think you should judge people. I think that you should forgive them. And that's what I say to because I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. But I respect everybody. So I said, Christianity wouldn't be the same religion if you understood that the very last words that Jesus said on the cross when they crucified him and killed him was, "Forgive them, Father, because they don't know what they're doing." To me, that is what Christianity is based on, is forgiveness. Jesus Christ came to teach us understanding, tolerance, patience, letting go, and forgiveness. And this is like a lot of the people that are so religiously inclined were taught wrong. And they that's the last thing they do. They don't forgive anybody. They don't tolerate anybody. They don't help anybody. They don't let go of resentments. And I said, why are you a Christian? If this is what Jesus came to teach you, you're doing all the opposite. But it would be different if he wouldn't have said that. So I take the best things out of every religion that I can understand and apply into my life. I can understand why Jesus said that. You gotta forgive everybody because they don't know what they're doing. Because if they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't be doing that thing. And a lot of people don't understand that. And these are the things that I hope I have been able to teach my children and my grandchildren. That remember that this is the most important things in life. It's not how much money you make, what great job you have, who you married to, nothing. It's the things that are important. And then having respect for everybody, whether you are a really poor person or a really rich person, or no matter what religion or what color or what sex, because you never understand, and so many people are so against people that we don't understand, like transgender. I know young children that are transgender, and they're really born with an extra chromosome that they don't know if they're a girl or a boy. And most of them, if the chromosome, even though they have girl parts, they have a lot more of boys chromosome, and they don't feel comfortable in their bodies. You need to give them a chance to understand. Don't just judge them. Don't judge them by the way they look. Some of the most charitable people that come to the food kitchen and to the homeless shelter are full of tattoos and piercings. They're the ones serving the food. It's not the guy that is going to church every Sunday. So don't. So hopefully the world will get better with time. I don't know. Well, I think so. I think young people now have a lot more information with the
Yes, they
internet,
have more information. They
and they're more
Yeah,
open.
it is different. Yes, now you can see the
Yeah,
difference from
yeah, yeah.
years
So
ago. Yeah.
hopefully they will change the world.
Yeah. Okay, the last
Okay.
question. It's more about face painting. So, what
Okay.
advice would you give someone wanting to break into face painting career?
Okay. What advice would I give somebody? Uh, the best advice would you do if you want to do this, love what you do with all your heart and do it with enthusiasm. And this is a quote from Walt Disney. He says, love what you do with all your heart and do it with enthusiasm because that's the key to success. Because if you go to a job, and I tell my kids to listen, this is the secret to being happy in life. You have to find something to do. Then when you wake up in the morning, you say, oh, great,
Yes,
I got to go to
time
work.
to do that. Yeah.
Versus, oh no, I got to go to work. That's the difference that's going to make in your happiness in your life. So if you want to do this, remember, you need to be patient first of anything because you're not going to learn how to be very good and to master this art overnight. It's going to take. So be patient and don't be so hard on yourself. Know that there's a lot of things to learn. And like I said before, the most important part about being successful in this business is having a great attitude and the same great customer service. Is face painting is not about you at all whatsoever. It's about the people that you serve. It's about the children and the people that hire you. So it's not about how good you paint. It's not about how fast you paint. It's not about how creative you are. It's about how you make people feel. So, so go in it, practice, 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 train, take lots of classes, ask lots of questions, make lots of friends. Don't be jealous of anybody.
No.
Always help somebody else. Be honest with everybody. Connect with people that are honest. And remember, there's going to be a lot of people that don't think this way. And they think that because you're coming into the industry and you're in your area, and you're the new face painter in the area, there's not going to be enough for them anymore. Because
No, that's not true actually.
there's not, but they
No.
don't remember that when they came into the industry, there was other painters there. And if other painters would have felt, you can't come and be a painter in my area because I'm the painter in my area. But they do that. There's a lot of people that do that make them feel really bad. And I said, these are the people that you ignore and you get away from them. But the people that says, come here, let me help you. Let me help you how to do this. Let me hire you. Then, those are the people you hang around with. And eventually you're going to get a lot of experience. You're going to meet a lot of people. There's 100 different ways to run a face painting business. Nobody can help you how to run your own. Some people just want to offer high quality 5-10 minute faces and charge a little bit more and do it very slowly, while some other people want to do just fast faces and do festivals where you need to do fast faces. Most people find the middle ground. Some people will tell you, well, the only paints that you got to use is this brand. The majority of the people will tell you mix them, have a little bit of each, because all brands are great. There's no brand that is better than the other.
Wow.
Support. So, that's what I said, just listen and learn. Just listen and learn and always be happy. When you go out to work, just say, I'm the happiest person on earth because I'm going to do this and I love this. That's where they create the enthusiasm. So when you walk in the party and you have a big smile and you greet the parent and you say, thank you for having me here, and you see the birthday child and say, what's your name? And happy birthday. I'm so happy to be here. Let's go paint your face. That's what they're going to remember, and they're going to call you back, and that's how you build your clientele.
Yes.
By people liking you. If they don't like you, you can be the best painter in the world. They're not going to call you back. I don't care how good you are. They're just not going to call you back. So, so be nice. That's my best advice. Be as nice a person as you can possibly be. The rest you can learn.
Yeah.
You can, just take classes. You learn. You get good with time. You're not going to and be patient. Some people, I see it in the new face painting thing. They're so impatient. They want to be just paint just like you. When they just
Yeah,
started painting,
it
it
takes
happened.
time, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter how
No,
advanced
I
you
don't.
are, because like obviously it's nice to have like nice rounded picture, but you can learn easily to do, you know, the basics, but like the
Yeah,
beautiful basics.
yeah.
And then
And I
and
always say,
the other thing is just to be, yeah, to be enjoying it, and to, yeah.
yeah. And then to remember that this is a never ending learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
You never, ever
Never.
stop learning, because there's always somebody else that's going to come out with a different idea
Mm-hmm.
and a different product. 5 years ago, we didn't have water-based paints. And now we have water-based paint where we can paint the pool parties. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yes.
10 years ago, nobody was doing airbrush-based painting. Now you have airbrush-based painting. You know, so it's
Mm-hmm.
always evolving. It's always evolving. There's always something new. There's always a new artist. There's some artists that you're going to like their style, there's some artists that you don't.
Yeah.
Choose and pick what makes you happy.
Exactly.
Gore
Yes.
doesn't make me happy, so I don't choose gore.
Mm-hmm.
But people that paint really cutesy, flowery, unicorns things make me happy, so I follow them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't follow anybody that does a lot of effects, because it's not for me. So you need to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, whatever you like. If I tell you I don't like gore, but if you feel inclined to paint effects in that type of monster faces, and you love what Nick is doing and Mateo is doing, and the guy from Mexico is doing with all the effects, then do that. Get really good at that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But don't let anybody tell you what you need to do.
Yes.
You allow them to give you suggestions and share what they like and they do, but you decide what it is that you like to do. You decide how you're going to run your business. Take business classes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be successful. Face painting is part of show business.
Yes.
And if you look at the word show business is the longest word.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know how to sell yourself, if you don't know how to price yourself, if you don't know how to speak to a potential client, if you don't know how to answer the phone, if you don't know how to sell the job, if you don't know how to market yourself, go work for somebody else that does, and let them pay you and tell you where to be at what. Because that's what I do. I'm not good at all that. I'm good at tell me where to be at what time, and I prefer that.
Yes.
But a lot of people are very business oriented, and they can take a place in business and take it from here to here in less than a year. Other people struggle all their lives because so then decide, but nobody can decide for you. You have to decide for you.
Yeah.
And that decision only comes with experience. So that's why the first thing I said to you is be patient. Be patient with yourself, be patient with your time, and be patient with others, because everything will come if you really want it.
Yeah, that's a good advice. That is a very good advice. Well,
Good.
thank you very much. It was a pleasure to
I
talk
hope
to
it wasn't
you.
long. I talked too much.
It was
Okay.
really enjoyed, and you shared lots of interesting stuff, lots of information, and amazing personality. So
Oh, thank you. And you too. And you're really pretty to look at. Yeah, you guys have this beautiful smile and beautiful teeth and that beautiful red color on your lips. I'm going, oh my God. And I was going to put makeup on, but I didn't. I don't know if you saw my pictures when Lisa Griffith, I had a wedding last week.
Oh,
and
yes.
my niece got married, and then she made my makeup and she did my hair.
Oh.
And I went, wow, I'm so pretty. I'm so happy.
I saw these pictures. They are nice.
Yeah.
Yes. It
And
was really good.
Remember, what would you do if you had a lot of money? I said, I will hire somebody like Lisa to live with me and be here every day to do my makeup every morning so I can look that good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.